Is it the start and finish? Because we're live on YouTube, and should be live on Facebook as well. And the amazing thing is, what the viewers of this programme don't realise is that today is the start of the brand new Rugby League season, because Radio Leeds have discovered it exists.
All right, lovely. Why is the football season finished now?
Yeah, they stopped talking about Leeds for a week.
Very good. Hello, welcome along. The four are back. It's been a while since I think we've all been on together, so that's a good start, a positive start. If only there was something to talk about today. I don't know what we're going to talk about. Are we going to possibly mention that Tim Sheens has been given the old tin tack at Hull KR? We might get onto that. Allegedly. It has been reported. Look, we've heard rumours, it's true for a while. It's going to happen. It has happened now. We understand it'll be announced tomorrow. And what the hell is happening at Leeds? They've just basically got rid of one of their best players. They forced him out, is the opinion of some people. Or is it good business from Leeds? It's a move that may well suit Callum Watkins. Well done to Halifax, making it into the semi-final. As some predicted last week.
Yes.
They did all right last week. Yeah.
But in fairness to me, I believe what I read in the league, especially League Weekly, and believe that Bradford were back. And it turns out they're not back.
No, they're not. Well, they're back in the 1895 Cup on Wednesday.
Until they...
so they may well get to Wembley, but not quite how they were hoping to. Well done to Hull FC. They, as we said last week, they turn up when they want, Hull FC now. They just win when they want. If they're not bothered, they won't bother. If they want to win, they'll win. They're going to win. I think they're going to win the Cup, by the way, Hull. There you go. That's it. No, I'm confident. Well done to Warrington, who beat Hull KR.
Well done to Theo Farge on signing a new two-year deal with St Helens.
Well done to St Helens, I think, because there was a lot of interest in him, wasn't there? Who's going to get the new gig at Hull KR, should that position become available? And that's about it, I think, isn't it? What else do you want to talk about?
That's the show.
Yeah, Gary, are you well?
Very well, yeah, and also as well, to be honest with you, I think as well, I think it's a chance now for all the fat men out there, to be honest with you, if you want to make a comeback in sport.
This is the weekend.
I'll tell you what, well, a so-called, Oliver Hardy, it's not Stanley, it's Oliver Hardy, just become the world boxing champion with the 3 belts. I'll tell you what, fantastic, well, and I'll tell you what, and I put it on Twitter last night. Scott Morrell, I'll tell you what, I've had plenty of time for Scott. I have as a young kid, when he was coming through the league system, and he did it all, KR, Halifax, and then easily the best half back yesterday. And one thing for sure I put out there last night, if Leeds want to avoid relegation, they want to avoid relegation now. They're totally messed up with the halfbacks, as we all totally know from there. Scott Morrell, for the last 14 games, by the way, they can then go to Halifax for the semi-final because there's no games that weekend. Halifax coming back for the week. Get Scott Morrell back for 14 games. And I tell you what, Rhinos fans, we've no problems in about relegation because he will keep that shape. By the way, plenty of shape. I'll get that in before anybody else. But he will give us that shape. He'll give us that organisation, and he'll make sure relegation will be quashed.
The one thing I really like about him, apart from the obvious skill that he's got, is the enthusiasm he generates and those around him. And I just thought he.
But what about you, Phil, about it? Scott Morrell coming as a stopgap for 14 games.
It doesn't happen like that anymore, unfortunately, under salary caps rules.
Well, hold on.
We'll talk about Callum
Watkins. Phil, hold on.
No.
We tried to get Danny Maguire. I think we tried to get a couple more by all accounts, so don't be telling me it doesn't happen. They have tried to get 2 or 3 halfbacks already. So what about Scott Morrell to stop us getting relegated?
I don't think that's going to happen, and I'm not sure it would.
Would you like to see him at Leeds?
I don't think that's the answer, even in the short term. But what I would say is what I really liked about him is when it got to those crucial clutch moments in that game yesterday, there was only one guy on the field that was going to turn that game.
Absolutely.
And he was magnificent. He deserves his place in the sun in the semi-finals. My worry about the semi-finals is exactly the same as we had last year. That it's 8 weeks until we get to see these teams play. That if you're Halifax, you want to be playing this game in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah.
You want to take the euphoria that they got. Yeah. You want to take the fan base that you got. You want to galvanise everybody. Yeah. We don't know who's going to be fit in 8 or 9 weeks' time, and hopefully everybody who played yesterday is. But we saw it last year.
They also want to get the game out of the way without being rude, because they're going to have a big end of the season.
We saw it last year when Catalan were drawn against St Helens. Easily passage through. There's no form line in games that are in 8 or 9 weeks' time. And I would love Halifax to just capitalise on that euphoria that they got from what was a great performance from them yesterday. Because when they went behind for the second time in the second half, you thought, I wonder if they'll still have enough.
Yeah.
But with Morel at the helm, they did. Brilliant. Absolutely
they
brilliant.
did. Great play. Well done to Halifax. Disappointment for the Bulls. Were you there yesterday, legend?
I didn't get.
You didn't get an invite?
No, I was invited, but I had a bit of a pain in my left ankle, you know, with the old.
That's when you had Phil Larder had been reappointed a key.
Oh, by the way, can we'll discuss that now. How the hell? Sorry, that's my phone.
I've got Phil Larder's booking.
How the hell, right, of Keighley sacked Craig Lingard?
I'll
How
say
the
anything
hell?
negative about Keighley because I don't get
No,
I don't get it.
I'm not bothered. Is it Josh? He can tweet him whatever he wants. How the hell, right? Sport has gone bonkers.
Mate,
How the hell can they sack him?
Yeah. Well, listen. You know. Listen, I'm going to be open and honest about this now because, as I say, you know, I was there for 2 years, and you know, I'm chasing my money. What Keighley owe me, right? I'm chasing it. I've got the bailiffs involved. I'm getting the sheriffs involved. They owe me £12,500, and it's £12,500 where I worked hard for. I brought in plenty of money at Keighley as a commercial manager from there. So I'm having to sue the club, and but they brought these idiots back, right? This Mike O'Neill, this Mike Smith, this Tim Wood from the Cougar Mania days back in 1994. They said the club bust, worth about 700 grand when they got kicked out, right? And so now they're trying to reinvent something that is going to be absolutely nowhere near like it used to be. And bringing Phil Larder back is absolutely laughable. And then people now who are in charge of Keighley, they're absolutely idiots.
No, you can't say can't say that because they've got a right to come and defend themselves.
Yeah,
I think that's a bit hard.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's not. You asked plenty of people over at Keighley here because when that appointment was made, and they're going back to the old Cougar Mania, they even said it again in the League Express. My phone never stopped from people who sponsored Keighley when I was there. Let me just tell you this as well, Matt, right? Let me just tell you this. This is the thinking of Keighley Rugby League Club, right, under this Cougar Mania. Me as a commercial manager, right, they didn't want anybody who was part of the old regime. Do you know what I had lined up in sponsorship for Keighley Cougars? Hold on. Mark, hold on. No. I want the Keighley fans to know, because the Keighley fans deserve better than what they're getting. I'm only being open and honest here now, because the two guys who saved the club, or who was involved and would have done a better job, in Neil Cullen and Simon Harrison, to be honest with you, from there, right? The sponsorship I had brought in for this year, because they were said, we don't want small companies anymore, we just want the big boys. I've been to all the big boys at Keighley. They weren't interested. Mark and Phil and Rich. I've got 43,000 quid signed up in sponsorship for Keighley Cougars in 2019, and they didn't want it. There you go. That's why they're idiots.
Fair enough.
I'm not sure where you go by appointing somebody who's 74. That is for sure. As director of rugby, I think you're trying to bring back an era that clearly
Keighley's
doesn't
a
exist.
different place
Yes.
to what it was 25 years ago.
Yeah.
Mark, completely.
And I think there's two issues. One, you're absolutely right. The morality of how Craig Lingard's been.
When I read that news, I felt sick. I did, honestly.
I mean, he must have worked for, like Francis Cummins did at Bradford, 3 or 4 months without pay to try and keep the thing
club going.
Yeah, you can't ask more of people.
And when I look at the League One table, they were deducted 12 points. They would be second.
Yeah,
So it's not like where Widnes are. They won't quite.
They'd have 11, wouldn't they? So they'd be.
They're about third. They're about third.
So they'd be in with promotion.
Yeah.
So clearly,
They're doing a good job. They're doing a great job. To be honest.
It's not based on performance.
No.
But to bring somebody back who is redolent of an era that's long past, who is 74, who, when you know Phil Larder better than any of us around here, but I would venture to suggest not fully in touch with the game of rugby league in the way it's certainly played at the moment. How does that benefit?
I don't know.
It's laughable. And you know what? The fans deserve a lot better. The fans deserve better, man.
Yeah,
they
do. Just don't sit well.
Well,
with
fans
me.
deserve better.
If
I agree.
the club won't have a go
I
at me
agree.
about that, I ain't bothered. You make decisions like that, you open yourself up to criticism. I can't believe. I just don't sit well. Sorry, it doesn't.
But also as well, do you know what Michael O'Neill, the chairman now, he said Phil Larder's the Alex Ferguson of rugby league. Well, Phil Larder's not won anything in rugby league. Ferguson won over 20 odd trophies. But also too, you know, the fact of the matter is, Alex Ferguson got out 5 years ago because he knew he had crap on his side. So he realised, Alex Ferguson was smart enough to realise, I've had my day at football now and got out of it. Yeah. That's not smart what they've done.
Yeah.
It's
He also works at a club that had probably the best resources at the time in the Premier League.
Yeah.
So you know.
Laughable.
Yeah, laughable, disappointing as well.
The fans
It's
deserve
not
better.
funny for Craig.
The
Lingard.
fans deserve better. A lot
Because
better.
what's going to happen with League One anyway? Because seemingly reading social media and the internet this weekend, all of it, we hear a lot from Championship clubs about their future, and it's interesting in League Express today how they said about 750,000 watched the game yesterday, which they've got no way of knowing that by the time they go to print. We complain about Rugby Union making numbers up, and we've done the same thing there. We've got no idea how many people watched Bradford and Halifax yesterday. But the Championship clubs, they're going to negotiate their own TV deal, which is going to be worth billions of pounds, which we all know is complete nonsense. What's going to happen to League One? Because it does seem to me that the Championship clubs who accuse Super League of being only interested in themselves are only interested in themselves.
I think the League One clubs already know that should the overall television deal go down in 2021, that they will get nothing. Some of them will revert to being on a par with the top amateur clubs, and I think there'll be an expanded championship. So they'll take the best of whatever the best of is in 2021, if that is Newcastle or Workington or Whitehaven. They'll expand the championship, and there'll be no League One.
Well, there's 14 teams in the championship, so what they're going to spend it to 18, could we say?
Could do.
The five clubs from the south, and then look at Whitehaven, Oldham, Hunslet. Well, I'll tell you what, there's Doncaster, Newcastle, and Workington in there. So
I think all of those.
So it might be a 20 team
and
comp
I think
in the
that's why
championship.
you've seen some of the coaches in that division lose their jobs. You know, I don't think Leon Price lost his job because Workington at that point were worried that they wouldn't be part of it. I think they just thought, we've lost again, we can't afford to not get promoted this year. And there is genuine panic, I think, amongst some League One chairmen as to where their division is going to be in a year and a half's time.
Well, I think they already know, don't they, what's happening?
I just think they know that there's no money coming.
Yeah, exactly.
It is.
Exactly.
It's a worrying. It is a worrying time, you know, and they'll say they're putting their money in. They can make whatever decision they want, but I just think as a decision from an outsider looking at that doesn't sit well.
It's a worry as well for clubs like Coventry, who we've spoken about. We're big fans of the way that they've tried to develop themselves, the talent that they bring through from the Midlands. You know, you've got to have a plan of a rough idea of what, you know, we'll talk about Leeds no doubt and the decision to get rid of Callum Watkins at the end of the year. It's a business decision, but you can't plan your business for 2-3 years ahead if you don't know what money you've got coming in. And unfortunately, these clubs in League One have that issue. If they do not get out of the division this year and they're in the championship when this television deal is negotiated, there is a danger that...
Is that Leeds? That'll be something to do with Leeds.
No, it's Louis.
I thought it was Callum showed a bit of enthusiasm, to be honest with you.
It's Louis.
Does this not come back though to what we've said all along, and this is where the split is becoming an issue now,
Yes.
because neither party can grow. Neither party have come out and said, what is the plan? Super League have not come out and said, this is the plan.
Yeah.
You know, we're still messing about, where's Magic going to be? Because no one else, it's like, oh, we better not tell anyone because they might not like it.
How many
Just
teams
tell
are gonna
people.
how many teams are going to be in Super League?
Well,
Because until
exactly.
you know that, you don't know how many
What's
teams
going
are
to
going to be in
happen
other divisions.
with the Ottawa and all that? Yeah, all right, I know they're coming in, but should they be going into League One? Should they not be coming in the Championship? Are they coming in the Championship? Do we know this? These are all things that need addressing. And the game, if it's going to grow, and for me, they almost need to get back together. I get what they've done with the money thing, and I know why they needed to do that. I think there's been a gross overreaction in that the Super League clubs have felt that Nigel wasn't doing his job properly. So instead of getting someone in that could do it properly, they've just gone, oh, well, we'll destroy everything and then we'll start again.
I think they also knew that when the next television deal was done, they didn't want to be obligated to drip down any of that money in case it was less.
Yeah, no,
so
I
they
get
wanted
that.
to take control of the
I
negotiations.
get all that.
So I can understand why they would have thought there was a logic to it. The one big success at Magic Weekend was LDRL. I think we spoke about that last week. The Learning Disability Rugby League, which was launched as part of the Magic Weekend, was something we should all be very, very proud of, that our sport is taking on board. That was a work between the RFL and Super League. It was a joint initiative, and it showed at that moment that when we do it well together, we're more than twice as good as we are when we do things apart.
Yeah.
And if that's, it's going to be the same with England, with Great Britain. You need the Super League behind whatever the international team are doing. Not saying, I don't know whether we want England to play as England Knights or whether they're going to release our players. It's got to be a single strategy for the sport.
Yeah, for the whole sport.
Yeah.
And I don't think at the minute that is.
Which was the one thing Gary Hetherington did get right, because that's one thing that he stood up for.
Well, good for Gary, because he's got bugger all right in the last 12 months. Let's be fair.
The one thing he did get right.
Right, you did.
Well,
you did. I
talking
just wanted to put the boot in.
Talking about broadcast rights and money, if you're on YouTube, you can now pay to send us messages. I don't know how this works. It's
What?
called, yeah, I know. It's called Super
Why don't you
Chat.
just send us a tweet?
Send us some money. Super Chat, you can pay. You don't have to. But you can go on the Super Chat and pay money to.
And
have your
what's the benefit of Super Chat?
Gets your message highlighted.
All right. Well, what messages have we got? These free ones, these freeloaders sending us messages.
I know, we're turning to Martin Callum's podcast. Michael says, it was interesting that the Bradford Halifax attendance was higher than the Saints Wakefield. Am I right in thinking that Bradford Halifax was the highest of the weekend? I think Sky's been crunching the numbers.
So it's been crunching. I thought you were crunching the biscuits when I walked in.
Yeah.
I think that is certainly correct, but that would again point to the fact that why are people not watching or paying to watch Cup Rugby League?
Cup sport. I think can extend it to football as well.
Yeah, it can. It's not just rugby. That is a worldwide.
Because whilst we should laud Bradford for getting the highest figure, we should also be looking and saying, there's some venues there that should be disappointed with how many people turn up.
And initially, I thought they should, because we've had the semi-final draw now, I thought they should put Saints Halifax on the first of the two men's games, but actually they've got it exactly right with the RFL, because the women's final's on at 11:30 or something.
On the red button.
Followed by White and Hull on BBC One, because that's the biggest game, that's the one that's going to be close. Saints and Halifax on BBC Two, which we all know what's going to happen. There's nothing wrong with that, that's Cup Rugby. But they've got it in the right order.
How do you know what's going to happen? Halifax might win.
Are you going to put money on it?
Maybe not. Have you done? Is that it? Is that the only person we've had in touch?
That's more. Sam says, will Sky pay £1 billion if nobody else is bidding? I don't think they pay £1 billion now, do they? But we don't know. We don't know what's going to happen. People are predicting what's going to happen based on agendas.
I think the one strong thing, just to go back to that, is that there isn't a right lot on in the summer.
No.
There's cricket and there's rugby league. There's not a lot else on. So there is a market for it.
Well, the netball World Cup started as well, to be honest with you.
You're right.
Netball's on.
You're bang right.
The netball's on.
You're bang right. I'll tell you what, I knew that was on when I went to Liverpool because it was advertising Liverpool.
You
Not like
could
the
see it
Magic
on
Weekend.
posters and
Yeah.
flashing lights saying coming soon.
You know what? And I said this on Twitter yesterday, and it would have been better rather than go back to the panel of giggling blokes on the telly who'd just come out of the golf club, saying, "Oh, Warrington and Hull, that'll be close, won't it? Oh, Saints and Halifax. Why not do the women's draw straight after the men's draw?"
Why was the women's draw not on the telly?
It was on the red button.
Yeah, but it's not on proper.
How long
telly.
does it take? Why was it not on the
And
telly?
it was done by the same two people that did them.
So why not do that one first
Yeah.
and then building up? Oh, now it's the men's one.
Because we don't really care about, what do you think's going to happen between Warrington and Hull?
Yeah, I just thought it was poor that. To be
Failed
honest.
director of rugby. Yeah. Leeds Warrington, Keighley Albion versus Wakefield, St Helens versus Wigan, Castleford versus Bradford.
Keighley Albion, they're an amateur side.
Yeah. Well, Wakefield just opened with
That's
that
women.
Saints in the semi, but.
They're in League One in the women.
All right.
Yes, that's the.
So why are amateurs allowed to play against the
well,
pros?
they're
competition.
Yeah.
They're all amateurs in the ladies, aren't they?
Are they?
Well, they are.
Well,
None of them get
but they're
paid.
just playing under the brands of the
Yeah.
professional club, right? Okay.
All right. We'll talk more women's rugby later on. Right, where are we going? We've got to go
Oh,
Watkins.
David's not happy. He says the table is messy. I don't think it's
What?
messy, is it? We've got 2 books, a magazine.
It looks
papers.
very attractive to me. I'll tell you, biscuits and donuts about. I'll tell you. Yeah.
This isn't, this isn't.
Mark, I just wanted to talk about and bring up what's happened a couple of weeks ago, and also regarding the suspension, because we have said it now for the last 3 or 4 years about the chicken wing, the tackle diving in from there. When I saw the piece what Mark Aston has put in the League Express last week regarding this ninja tackle.
Well, can I just jump in and I'll let you carry on? I haven't read the piece, but I was covering the game on the telly.
Yeah.
And all 3 of us that were on commentary, like all at the same time, went, "Oh, yeah, it was.
right.
That is the worst rugby league tackle I have ever seen." And I'm going to say it now.
I'm glad you
How
said
he
it.
only got 8 games, I don't know.
This is the point I'm making now. So I'm glad that you've addressed it from there, because I'm going to address it just as hard and as harsh as well, because The piece what Mark Aston put last week in this ninja tackle has literally been outlawed because it's been mentioned what's been going on or what could happen, and the RFL said everybody saying right, avoid this tackle, avoid this tackle. This kid's at it, and the kid's out for 9 months. He may never recover. You know,
he's done everything that can go wrong in his knee has gone wrong.
So for me, the kid from Barrow, Charnock, from there, and as we've said it now for the last 3 or 4 years, we've been doing the show. These tackles and what have you from there. He should get 9 months ban. That stops it straight away. You look at the incident, what McAlorum did, he was going back to the old Wigan days from there. How that never got penalised. You could see the reaction of the players, the intent is there. Why the disciplinary committee literally at times ball it when it's on these massive career-threatening injuries, because this is what they'll do with this kid, and for it to be mentioned and said this tackle should not be allowed. The ninja tackle, what's it all about? You know, wrapping your legs around there and you twist your body the other way to cause damage. Now this young kid is permanent for me, and I think that kid who's out for 9 months, maybe 12 months, Charnock should have got exactly the same. He should be banned for 9 months, and hopefully that'll stop this tackle being done again.
What makes me laugh is we're always told that the punishment will reflect the severity of the crime. Now, I know for a fact that, and I'll mention Wakefield, you know, I spent time with Michael away from work, whatever. Bill Tupu got injured by an act of foul play.
Yeah.
He reported it, nothing happened. Guy didn't even get a warning, didn't happen. I know they've highlighted, and I know all clubs will do it, there's foul play happening all the time. And I know, look, Hudgell last week, his outburst I thought was a disgrace. I'm not saying his point wasn't a valid one, but I think how he went about it was a disgrace, and I think the timing of it was a disgrace. And I've told that to him, and he's had his say to me. I said, look, if you'd have said it the week before, people would be more welcoming at what you said. You've only said it because your players got banned. I said, I've not heard you complaining when other players haven't been banned or blah, blah, blah. We're told the severity of the injury, it's bull. It is bull. So there is a problem, I think, with the disciplinary process. I agree. Whether you can say he's getting 9 months, I can only equate, right, that tackle, if that had been a footballer on Lionel Messi or Ronaldo and it had broken, it had done the same damage, I would estimate that there would be a new rule brought in why that footballer would get banned probably for the rest of the season. So they would deal with that. And I just look at the severity. The tackle was horrendous.
Awful. Mark, it was awful.
What I showed you, I think I showed you the thing, and we both looked away. It's horrible. Yeah, it's horrible. Yeah. So I'm with you on that one, but it's coming back in, sadly. And players are, and you mentioned this. The players themselves need to say to each other, look, fellas, cut this.
But also as well, Mark, also as well though, these sort of techniques, the wrestling techniques, it's these wrestling coaches who are bringing these in. You know, to show them, listen, if you want to, stop somebody and maybe hurt somebody or damage somebody, it's these wrestling coaches who are doing this. Wrestling coaches should not be allowed in the game of rugby league. Should not be allowed.
I think it goes back again to something that we've highlighted 2-3 years ago. Yeah. It's not even so much the disciplinary committee, it's the match referral committee, because they are given a grid by which they can punish a player. So it's right at the very beginning when somebody says, let's have a look at the severity of this incident. You know, the McAlorum one was odd on the basis.
I've not seen that one. So
did you see it?
It was live in play. It was reviewed in play, and it was play on, and it hasn't been referred to.
But the reaction of the players, players, Phil, the reaction of the players told you
whether he pulled out
how dangerous it could. And the intent was there again, just like the Wigan of old.
I think this is different. That this was on television. It was reviewed from at least 2 angles. It was better than the disciplinary committee get for a lot of the things that they have to adjudicate on, because there were cameras there. And again, to be referred at the grade it was means that it can only be banned for a maximum of 8 games. The problem starts before you even get to the disciplinary committee. There should be a grade that says we're not going to grade it. We are going to allow this to go through the process of natural justice. And a bit like in Australia when they decided to clamp down on head-high tackles, and is it Darryl Broman?
18 months with elbowing Les Boyd.
Yeah. Somebody needs to say, look, for this to stamp this out, we'll give the guy a year.
But also,
he can appeal if he wants, but this is a new category of offence.
I agree.
We can't grade it until the first time that we sanction it, and this, we're going to send out a message.
But also, the disciplinary have been leading by saying, because it's written. This Charnock has written to the Sheffield player and apologised. Hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on. I'm not buying into that one little bit.
Yeah.
I'm not biting you exactly what he was doing. And this kid's out for 9, 12 months. He should get exactly the same until this kid
I
looks better.
don't know if it's an eye for an eye, but it certainly is more than a grade E.
Right, Phil, what I'm
there
saying,
should be a grade Z.
Right, Phil, what I'm saying is, if we do that once, it stops everybody else doing it. That's my point.
I'm not saying it needs to be linked to the injury. I just think it needs to be a long ban that is a deterrent. And if that's the rest of the season,
that's the word you've used. The deterrent. This so-called ninja tackle. They've been told,
absolutely.
don't bring it to the game. We've heard about it. We've heard what it can do because of the implications of wrapping yourself around and twisting the other way. It should not be allowed. Anybody who's doing that sort of tackle or trying to do it straight off. And 6 months straight away.
And I think the coach of the player who has done it shouldn't be coming out and defending that player in any way.
I agree, and he's a good friend of mine, is Paul Cleary, but I can't defend it.
What he perhaps should be doing is saying, look, he's been given 8 games by the judiciary process. We're going to give him another 8 games on top of that because we want to rule it out. We don't want to be associated with it. But again, you look at where Barrow.
It's a brave club that do that. They get relegated.
Where Barrow are on the league table, and he's an important player for them. It's tough, but somebody has to stand up and say, for the good of the game, this is wrong.
Okay,
we're not going to stop.
Fair dues. Right, let's talk about what is happening in the world today. Stories broke, shall we say, over the weekend that Leeds might be looking to offload, or Watkins was in dispute with Leeds over his contract, that he was due to get upgraded to either a marquee contract or marquee money, which Leeds would have to pay. They look like they've been trying to get out of that. Callum's form has not been great, I think that would be fair to say. He's a very good player, he's been a very excellent player for Leeds. They're getting rid of him. They're paying him off. Now look, he's a player, he's got a contract, he don't have to go anywhere. So I think clearly Callum has got a deal sorted out. He's going away and he's going to make a few quid out of Leeds in going away. I think that it suits him, it suits Leeds. I think it's a good business move from Leeds. If they need to free up some salary cap, but it just looks very ruthless. I think we've got a poll on it. It was very split on Twitter at Forty20 Live. You can get involved. It was very, very down the middle. I'll start with you, Gary. What do you think? He's gone or he's going? Now, first things first, they have to remove him as captain because he's not good enough to play for Leeds. But
well, I said that 6 weeks ago, didn't I? For Callum to get the enjoyment back into his game, they've got to take the pressure off him, and that is certainly the captaincy. Should have been taken off him 6, maybe 8 weeks ago from there, just to try and get that spark back, that rejuvenation, that smile back on his face. They've tried him in the second row, which has been a failure. It's been a total failure putting him in the second row. He hasn't hit the form back. In the senses, yes, he has been a quality player for Leeds, but since that injury, which I'm sure Phil will talk about what he picked up 18 months ago, 2 years ago, not fully recovered, maybe brought him back a little bit early, but one thing for sure, this season, nowhere near the Callum Watkins. Callum won't want to be remembered for the sort of form what he's showing, but unfortunately, with the burden of the captaincy, maybe not recovering from the injury, the way that Leeds are playing themselves, I'm afraid to say it's going to be a sorrow into his Leeds career. But moving away now, it might get him back, reinvent himself, get, as I say, that enjoyment back, smile back on his face. Because if he gets the right service, gets a good pre-season under his belt from there, new environment, we may see Callum Watkins back to his best at international level. Is he good enough to be selected for international end of the season? Nowhere for me, nowhere from there. So going away, nice payday, take the captaincy off him, off you go, and enjoy yourself at another club.
Go on, what's the...
So far, 54% say wrong decision, 46% say Watkins out. It's a shame some of the...
So it's Woxit.
Yeah. It's a shame some of the reaction on social media from the people who we call idiots has been very anti-Watkins for wanting to apparently get what he's entitled to, or is in his contract, or whatever the situation is. We don't know from both sides, do we? But we're talking about a player here who... He's never done anything wrong, has he, necessarily? Not off the field.
He's been overly loyal. He could have gone 2 or 3 times.
Model pro, plays good rugby, doesn't cheat, doesn't deliberately take people's heads off or whatever. Does community work or whatever, but never does anything bad. And people are having to go in because he wants a bit of money than he's supposedly entitled to.
I was surprised by the reaction. I tweeted that as well. I was surprised by the reaction, the ill feeling to him. Look, Callum Watkins has scored 40 tries this year and then went, oh, I'm off because I can get some more money. Everyone would have called him a greedy son. So because they want rid of him, they do what they want.
What people need to do is remember Callum as the guy in the 2015 grand final that was outstanding, not the player that's played over the last year, because he clearly has had a serious potentially career-threatening knee injury that he hasn't yet come back from. I think the word you used sums it up absolutely. It's ruthless. This is the business of sport. And the other two words are salary and cap. And when you operate in that environment, there isn't the luxury of keeping somebody on for sentimental reasons.
This is we always
how
quote the
it's supposed to
NFL, right?
work.
This is what it's supposed to be like.
Yeah.
This is supposed to say to Wigan or Leeds, well, if you want him, you're going to have to get rid of him, and they've got to go, no, what do I want to do?
I think there's two other things to bear in mind here. One is it's the start of a serious clear out at Leeds. So for whatever reason, there's been talk on this programme for long enough about recruitment.
Yeah.
Well, Leeds are clearly in the market now to recruit. To recruit, you have to release some money. To release some money, you have to look where your strengths are. One of the positives this year, and that's not easy to say, has been the form of Harry Newman. So you look at, you've got Conrad Horrell as one of your marquee players, and you've got a young kid who's over-exceeded at the moment, who you really need to play every week and reward. So you need to upgrade Newman's contract. You can't have the luxury of having anybody else in that position at the moment. If you need a halfback, if you need a hooker, if you need a back row, wherever you think you need to strengthen your team, that might be the need to dispense with a centre. That's just how it works these days.
Yeah.
I think so. From Leeds' point of view, it's just a hard-nosed business move. They have obviously looked at the money they've got to spend. They've decided that what Callum was going to be paid over the next 2 years, which when they signed him 4 years ago, they obviously didn't factor in, as you couldn't, a major injury. It wasn't going to be the money they wanted to spend in that part of the team. So they've made a conscious business decision to say, he's been a brilliant servant, he's just coming to the end of his testimonial. Nobody could question the impact he's made on that club as a young teenager when he came through. The work that he's done for club and country, but he's not what we need going forward if we're going to change.
Yeah. No,
So
I
that's
think it's
it.
right. I think, and look, he's not going. He's not losing out. There's not going on the door.
And I
you know
think
what I mean?
that there are a couple of places that would take him tomorrow if he's fit. And I think that his agent over the weekend tested the Australian market, which is how it's come back. I think the other thing that Gary said that is absolutely right is, you've got to look at it from Callum's point of view. He'll be terribly disappointed because he's a home bird and he would have liked to have been a one-club man, and he'd love to have made... I mean, look who's had the captaincy since Kevin Sinfield gave it up. Danny Maguire and Callum Watkins. It's affected both of them. Neither of them played at the level that they could best play at with that burden of captaincy upon them. So that may or may not be an issue, and he wouldn't have wanted to leave.
Was it the burdency of captaincy, or was it the burdency that Leeds were rubbish?
It wouldn't have helped. But he doesn't want to leave with the reputation that people think he's got now. So I think going away, having a pre-season at another club where his knee will be stronger, having a different environment which will challenge him.
I think it's doing good.
He could come back and be, he's 28, he could be a mainstay in the England team at the 2021 World Cup.
Yeah.
So it works for everybody, but it's cruel.
It is, but that's what it should
sport.
be like. That's what it should be. It's taken however many years to get to this point. In the NFL, they cut their best players and go, right, there's no paying out.
Yeah.
You know, you might sign a $100 million contract, but only 15 million of it's guaranteed. They go, well, here's your 15 million, but sod off, we don't want you.
And Gary will tell you, this has always existed.
Oh, yeah.
If a club have decided that a player isn't
I
going to work for them,
I had it myself at Leeds, don't worry about that.
It doesn't matter whether
I
you've got a contract or not.
didn't want to leave Leeds, but I had it myself. Leeds was
Just for the record, are you sorry he's going, or from a player point of view, or from a performance point of view, do you think this is a good decision?
I think it's a good decision.
Yeah.
Without a doubt, for both sides. For both sides, we've seen the best of Callum Watkins from there. The pressure of the captaincy. He's not a leader. He's not a captain. You know, so he shouldn't be given in the first place from anyway. But they should have been taken off 8 weeks ago. But rejuvenation, new club, bring that smile back in his face, and as Phil said, hopefully can get back to something like his international best.
You're happy with it, or you understand why?
I understand it, and I think that it's clear that Leeds need recruitment, which is going to cost a fair bit in other positions. They're being linked with 3 halfbacks, and they clearly can't sign them all, but the fact that they're being linked with Jackson Hastings, James Maloney and even Luke Gale, that tells you where they want and need to spend their money. And maybe they're having to sacrifice a centre to do that.
Chat. Sorry, go on. You have your say. Do you agree with this or not?
Just for Andrew, who says why always about Leeds, we spent the first 30 minutes talking about other things.
Well, it's probably the biggest story in Rugby League today, as Hull KR haven't yet confirmed that Tim Sheens has left.
Joe makes a couple of points rather. I'm afraid you can't be sentimental in sport when things are not good, which is interesting because they're not sentimental about Callum Watkins, but we're about 2 of their second row forwards, one of whom hasn't played this year. This is not a brand new issue that's come up over the weekend, has it? Obviously, this has gone on for a while.
2 weeks this has been negotiation.
Was it only 2 weeks? Sorry.
Yeah.
So it's not. This has not been a long-term issue in terms of his form this year. Then we are putting that down to A, the team around him, and B, his recovery from injury.
And I think it's
I think
also
he came back too soon.
the
I think
form of
they've rushed
Harry
him
Newman
back.
as well has changed the dynamic.
So I'll tell you what then, so Leeds who were chasing 3 halfbacks then, so they've made a mistake signing Lola here, made a mistake Krell and also to Richie Martin, as I said from day
Well,
one.
I don't know about McClellan. I don't think you can. I mean, again, he played for the under-19s this week, who had a really resounding win. But he's not.
If they get scrum half and standoff, if they get, let's just say they get
Well,
to Luke Gale or James Maloney, that'll be on what 3 or 4 year deals. Aces will be on 3 or 4 year deal. So McClellan's got them.
Not necessarily. It could be Milo that's going. Could be McClellan and Newman.
What and again, I'm reading between the lines. You might be able to confirm or deny it, Phil. You know better than me. My understanding is that Leeds made an approach and an offer to sign Luke Gale now, even though he's injured. Now, here's one, and we'll talk about Castleford now.
Mm-hmm.
There's no guarantee Luke Gale's going to come back and be the
Absolutely.
same Luke Gale. We've just been talking about Callum Watkins, how his injuries affected him. We know Luke Gale started off at Leeds. It would fit the circle that he goes back there. He's on big dollar at Cass. If you were Cass, would you sell it? My understanding is they were happy to sell him, and Leeds, as my understanding is, Leeds made an offer and then withdrew it. Is that Leeds with a bit of skullduggery? Because I still think they're going to go for Darryl Powell as their coach. I can't comprehend that they're not going to make that move. But why are they after Luke Gale when he's injured and there's no guarantee he's going to come back the same?
Well, yeah,
way?
you mentioned, it was about 3 months ago, was it, when they made the approach for him?
I don't know when they did it.
Yeah.
I think it's been back on the table. I think it's been back on the table.
Yeah. Well, to be honest with you, they've got to see how he comes from injury. So they've got to see how he starts.
That would be a gamble. I think that's a gamble,
Massive
isn't it?
gamble.
That's a gamble. We all hope he comes back great and does what he
Yeah,
did
that's what I'm
before,
saying. But I wouldn't sign him at this moment in time.
No.
I'd wait.
Unless it was the
wait.
bait to get the coach to come along with it.
It's all gone quiet on the Leeds coaching front, hasn't it?
Very quiet.
Yeah.
Very, very quiet.
And I think we know that if they wanted Sean Wayne, if he was their number one
He'd
target,
be there now.
they could
He'd
have
be
him.
there now.
Yeah.
He'd be there.
He's already, from the other side of that fence, said he's available and willing to talk, and there doesn't seem to have been any discussions between the two parties. So you would think that, I get the stability, I get there's some issue behind the scenes with paying off David Furley, that's not been agreed yet. So again, maybe Leeds feel that legally they can't go into the market to replace him until a deal is done to ease his passage.
Is Mr.
away.
Caddick having to dig deep now? He must be costing him a few quid now.
The board have made a decision that
After that Bradford defeat. After that Bradford
No, I
defeat.
think it was before that.
Well, after that Bradford defeat, I saw Mr. Carrick and Miss Hemmington having some very stern words and some very. I've never seen Mr. Carrick so. I won't say angry. I'd say more annoyed. More annoyed, thinking, why has this happened? Why has this happened? But also, what I was going to say as well, at Castleford, what I'm hearing a little bit as well is. You may have heard it, you may not, but a little bit of unrest and Darryl Powell may be going upstairs. Why would Darryl Powell go upstairs when they've got John Wells as a director of rugby?
I
said
at the time, if you're Leeds, right, even if only to throw a spanner in the engine at Cass, you make an approach for Darryl Powell, right? Now, that hasn't officially happened as far as we know.
Unless until the Furner situation is settled.
Yeah,
They've
but
been
I
legally
cannot
told
believe
not
they're
to
not
apply.
going for a guy that could do them a good job. It's a fit for me. I'll give Rich credit. He said after the
grand
loss at
final.
Old Trafford,
That was
that's
it.
Cass's chance gone. And I was like, nah, you've been a biased Wakefield fan. They could still win Super League. But I look at the team. Darryl built the team to win it 2 years ago, and it didn't, for whatever reason. We know what the reason is. Didn't win, and I just don't. I don't think I'm not sure Castleford as a club can get back there again. That squad was there to win it, wasn't it? You know, they were.
If Powell comes back to Leeds, obviously he'll be looking hopefully maybe Gale as well. Will he bring Matt Sheens?
Well, here's the point from Roy. If Leeds are recruiting players, which apparently they are doing right now, it shows that the coach won't apparently have a say. Who's going to take that job on? Will Darryl Powell be happy to play with the cards dealt to him by Sir Kevin?
Well, the one thing
Gary?
we don't know is if the coach has been identified and is in discussion and has been consulted.
Well,
but not yet
the
appointed.
point you made a good point, right? They're clearing the decks here.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
saying we've got
Yeah.
800k salary cap.
Well,
that is the money.
yeah.
Now the coach, you tell us what
And
you
I
want.
think, JJB won't be playing next year. He's already announced that this is his last year, and I think he's incredibly frustrated that the sciatica problem he's got has seen him not on the pitch as often as he wanted in his final year.
Well, then someone gave him a longer contract.
Yeah, but they didn't know he had sciatica
No.
at the time, did they?
And I think the same with Carl Ablett. They didn't know he was going to injure his ankle in training and need another operation and not yet pull on the shirt this year. I think at the time they felt it's a holding year, and people like him were what they were missing last season. We've talked all year about leadership. Well, there are two leaders there, but he's not there, Ablett's not there, Callum Watkins isn't there. Suddenly you've got maybe Brett Ferris isn't there, who's contract. You've got a lot of salary cap money where you can, and they've got some good juniors. You can go out and cherry pick the people that you want, which is exactly how this golden generation started. Ally them with the juniors, a coach that can improve the players that are already there. The mix is starting to come back, but you have to clear the decks first.
You do, and they are doing that. So
Who else are going to clear off?
Well,
Sutcliffe,
the one thing that
Myler.
the Watkins deal shows is that nobody is safe,
Yeah.
whether they've got a contract or not.
yeah,
So there's, I reckon
Everyone's on notice.
do about number 3 or 4 want to go in. There's got to be.
Yeah.
Got to be.
Massive.
And Lola here could be one of them as well.
I don't think
He has
anybody,
been
I don't
rubbish.
think anybody is safe,
It's been rubbish.
except
Okay.
maybe the two.
Well, Leeds are 2 points off the bottom of the table. Win over London. Hull KR also 2 points off the bottom of the table. Now I think they're panicking. The language coming out of Hull Kingston Rovers is that of a team, and I think even in the local press they've admitted there's a worry they're going to get relegated. Now they got relegated 2 years ago when they sacked their coach, and they made a right balls up of replacing him, and that got them, in my opinion, got them relegated. We all know what happened
Was
with
that by a failed director of
Jamie
rugby?
Peacock. Well, look, the facts speak for themselves. On his CV, he got that club relegated. That's how it is. They've appointed Danny Maguire as head of recruitment. Is that his official title next year?
Halfback coach as well.
There's
They appointed John Bastian as their youth development
yeah, which
officer.
John Bastian's record is superb. I don't think anyone would question that. But they're going down a route. I'm not sure it's the right route for them to go down.
No, it's not.
And now they've got rid of the coach. Now he was out of contract anyway, so the odds are he was going to go at the end of the season. Even if it had been mid-table, they might have said, "Thanks, Tim. Off you go. Thanks for all your help." I've got 2 questions, right? Obviously, he's sacking him now the right time to sack him. And the other one is, what is Hull KR's objective, right? Hull KR. When I look at Hull KR, right, they've got good supporter base. They've got a nice ground, and to be fair to Hull KR, their ground improves year on year. And you've got to give credit for that. And now I think Neil Hudgell is trying to buy an area around the ground to improve it and make it an academy. Great, all that's great. But on the pitch, what are Hull Kingston Rovers? They're not even a noise in their own city. They might beat Hull every now and then. I thought this was the year they were going to kick on and be better than Hull.
We all thought that, didn't we?
Yeah, and that, it's laughable, really. The money's gone already. Hull, even if Hull didn't win another game, they'd still finish above Hull KR now. But what do Hull KR aspire to be? For all the money they invest, they're about where I would have them, in the bottom 4. I know I didn't say that at the start of the year, but I just look at things and I don't know where they want to be. So getting a new coach now, who's going to come in? Is it the right thing?
Surely they must have somebody lined up on the basis of the fact that they got it so wrong last time.
Well, have they?
And-
Or are they just
James
panicking
Hodgson.
and they've just sacked him?
Word on social media when it came out late this afternoon that there would be an announcement likely tomorrow that Tim Sheens had been relieved of his duties. Is that
They're
Justin
going to put Webster back. They're
No,
going to put Webster back in charge, aren't they?
but what, with the greatest respect to Justin Morgan, is that any different to what Keighley have done with Phil Larder? He hasn't been in Super League for a long time, and he's coming into a pressure situation. You're hoping he's coming back as the Messiah because he once did it in a different era.
This is what I mean.
But he's got
it
a different
seems
group
to
of
me
players.
history is repeating
Well, I
itself.
also think we'll
they
no
sacked
doubt-
a coach before
Yeah.
and they cocked it up and they got relegated.
And we'll no
you can
doubt
see this
talk
could happen again.
about the actual games that we saw in the Cup this weekend. I thought for an hour, Hull KR were incredibly disappointed against Warrington.
Well,
The game was awful
I
till
said
the
last
20
week,
minutes or so.
I thought Hull KR could beat Warrington and they couldn't even score against 11 men.
At 22-0, it wasn't even a contest.
With a very experienced halfback.
Now, the fact that they came back is partly to do with the vulnerability that Warrington have got that we've seen this year in certain must-win games, but also the fact that when you've been down to 11 men, it is going to have an effect at some time.
Well, stop the programme because Rob's been on. What's laughable, he says, is that clown Wilson, that's you, overlooking that for long periods of this season, Hull can have had 5 or 6 props out. About recruitment.
5 or 6 props. All right, who
That's
are
a lot
they?
of props.
Massor.
This is like when we go back to Hull having 20 odd players.
I think
about 3.
So he's going to say Massor. Who are his props? Garbutt, Mulhern, Jewett, Scruton. Well, for Nick Scruton, read Jamie Jones, Buchanan, and Carl Ablett. You know, should he have been given, in all fairness? And don't get me wrong, right? Hull made a conscious decision when they got rid of the kid who's at Hull now, the back row, Cass, the back row. What's he called? Clarkson.
Clarkson.
Got rid of Clarkson. They got rid of Donaldson.
Yeah.
They made a decision to go with a smaller squad, and when you get injuries, that's what happens. So call me a clown, whatever, right? What is Hull? He's obviously a Hull fan. What's your ambition? You're about where you should be, in my opinion. You know, you just look at that team and just think.
Everyone's injured. Every team's got a million players injured.
Yeah, exactly.
We know that.
Well, I think I said before the season started, I mean, they signed a little bit more quality, but that quality, they're all journeymen, aren't they? All journeymen. You look at Welleraraki, for instance. You know, like Joel Tompkins, he came there, as we know, with the circumstances from there. Week in and week out, is he consistent? Not really, not the quality from there.
Well, if he wasn't, he'd still be at Wigan.
Mossy Massoy, again.
Why did St Helens get rid of it?
Travel journeyman. All right, Garbutt's had a decent season, from there, but a bit better quality, but all journeyman for me. And no matter what you say, Mark, they are where they are because
just look,
they're consistent with what they do.
Yeah,
they are.
Has Josh Drinkwater been a success?
No, it's been a disaster.
Yeah, but
he's been a shocker.
He's the great example of players who have a game or a run of good games when out of contract and suddenly become the best player in the Super League. And that was Drinkwater last year winning the championship at Canada.
He doesn't look as though he wants to be. He doesn't look as though he wants to be.
As opposed to the Drinkwater that was at London and Leeds.
Yeah.
We both got relegated.
Anyone with
he's
half a
reverted
break
to
can
the
work
mean,
those things
hasn't he?
out.
Basically,
he doesn't look as though he wants to be in an Ulster jersey, does he? Not one bit.
Not really.
No, he doesn't.
I don't know. I look at him and I worry for him. Really, they've got all the investment. They've got a great little ground. The fans are.
I tell you what, they've got some. I tell you what as well.
They've got some passionate supporters.
It's not just support, but the sponsors as well. They've got some great sponsors. They're stacked out, with sponsors.
But all right, so everything's there.
Everything's there.
Everything's there. Why are they
everything
so
is there.
rubbish? Why are they so rubbish?
Well, Mr. Hudgens has got to answer them questions, hasn't he?
I mean, that is, that's a fair question. Why are they so bad?
They have got some, honestly. Well, I know the great sponsors. I know 4 of them very, very well. A big major sponsor, Ulkia. And they've got some quality people there.
I just worry, right? London must be going. Well, hang on. If they get this wrong, we can.
Have Ulkia still got to go to London? Haven't they? Leeds have still got to go there.
Yeah.
So the question is, for the bottom 3, London, can we see them winning 2 or 3 games? If they can,
we're going to play Wakefield again. So yes.
Well, what I'm saying is, can we see Leeds winning 2 or 3 games?
I don't think there's a form line in any of the teams at the moment. Wigan have to go to Hull KR this week. If they were to lose, they're dragged into it.
Yeah, I think Wigan have got a run of games, haven't they, against the teams,
all the teams
out of the bottom. So
it's
we'll know more about them in a month, I think. But I don't know. What people? Anyone else abusing me?
No, not yet. Kevin's talking about Josh Drinkwater. The problem is, we hype up these people based on very little evidence. It's like going back to the Bradford and back thing based on one game. We hype things up based on one thing and go, this is the greatest thing since sliced bread. Young Jack Croft at Wakefield is now the greatest centre in the history of Wakefield. He's had one good game. He's obviously got lots of potential, but don't play him every week. Fans will be clamouring now for him to play every week.
Well, they will, because Bill Tupou's back in shortly, so his chances are going to be few and far.
Let him develop. He's had his moment of success, and that's great because we all enjoyed it. Now let him develop, and we can come back and have a cameo appearance.
How old is he?
I think he's 19.
Well, how long does it take to develop?
I don't know. I know because you developed it. 12.
This is what I'm saying. How long does it take a player to develop? To be consistently in the side week in and week out. Phil talks about Harry Newman at Leeds, and he's going to be taking over Callum Watkins' place. So Callum Watkins, Newman now, He's ready. It's like young Truman at Cassie. He's ready. Young Croft, I reckon if he gets dropped, he'll be disappointed.
I'm sure he will.
He's made that impression there. So how long did it take to develop? To be honest with you, back from like me and Joe Lydon and Crooksey and Edwards and Greg at 19, we played half a dozen times for Great Britain. You know what I mean? So why keep saying it's still developing? How long does it take to develop?
Hey? Well, let's see what happens. He's going to be in the squad again this week.
I'm not saying drop him, but
I'm not saying against Leeds. You could see the future.
But Mark, what I'm saying is, if he keeps playing like he does that week in and week out, why drop him?
Will they drop? I'm not so sure.
Well, I hope they do.
Here's the example. Then.
He don't deserve to be dropped.
Here's the one because Chris has mentioned it.
Because I what he said. Because I tell you what, he burned that Guama when he scored his strike. Absolutely burned him with that footwork.
When was the last round of the Challenge Cup? About a month ago.
About 3
and
weeks.
Who was after the last round of the Challenge Cup? Who was the greatest halfback in rugby league? Jordan Lilly.
No, yesterday were crap.
Well, there you go.
Yeah,
so again, one game is that the greatest. Leeds are mad to get rid of him. Leeds, what are you doing?
What I would say is one of the reasons Hull KR are in the position that they're in is yes, they've had injuries to a smaller squad in the same way that if Salford had half of their squad out, they'd really struggle to replace those players. Are the quality of the youngsters coming through at Hull KR good enough? Because they don't seem to persist with young players.
No, that's
George
a really
looks good.
Yeah, he's a good player.
And yet, Greenwood got injured, which is unfortunate. But I don't see a core of.
He was leaving anyway, wasn't he? I think he refused to sign a new contract, as I understand.
But I don't see a core of Hull KR juniors that they're building their team around.
No, and
who you can allow those players to make the odd mistake and get behind them. Chris Atkin now is either.
They messed him about that much now. He's probably going to go because he's going to say, "Sod that, I don't want to stay." When actually they need him to stay.
And I do think Kane Lynette has been one of the best
signings
of the season, wherever he plays in the centre.
I agree.
But where is the core of young kids coming through that you can build a generation around?
And I know he didn't come through their academy or whatever. What's happened to Will Dagger?
I don't know. It's a genuine question. When I look at them, they're a team that finds a way to lose when finding a way to lose seems impossible. And I don't know what it is about the club. It's like it's jinxed, and I don't know why. Everything's there. You just mentioned the sponsors,
but also
the backer. To be fair, Hudgy puts his money in and cost them before him. Did as well.
But in the games and all, they could score plenty of points.
They find a way to lose.
Exactly. They score plenty of points.
Yeah, I mean, look at the bloody £1 million game. That was an impossibility, and they made it happen. And it's just like, I fear for them. I really do. I think history's repeating itself.
I think one of the teams who didn't play this week, but we were incredibly impressed with at Magic Weekend, and we've looked at what they've been trying to do for the last year. And it takes a long time, but it's starting to bear fruit, is Huddersfield. So you can look at them and say, look, we're changing. We made the mistake of, we've probably gone and signing people to try and improve our squad. And what we really should have been doing is signing the odd person, but developing our kids. Having a system whereby there's an academy that over time will produce enough of them that we can get the Darnell McIntoshes coming through and we can replace with our own and then adorn with the Starners.
But again,
is that happening at Hull KR?
Again, though, you look at the talent they've got, and I might have mentioned it last week. Why did they sign Uarte? Big money signing, right? And if you said to who is it? Pick your best team now, Wolford. He won't even get in it. No. He wouldn't get in it.
He's been garbage.
So that you go about why have they?
No, they haven't rid themselves entirely.
No, but what I mean is, you're looking at the Leeds point of view and saying we need to prioritise there. So they're not going, well, these kids are alright. One of them will do us a job. We need to go there, and I think that's where they've. They've messed up.
No, but I think you look consistently about in the history of Super League about the teams that have regenerated themselves, and it is St Helens, and it is Wigan, and it has been Leeds, and it's always been on the basis that whilst we will go out and sign a big name, the core of what we do is based around our academy.
Yeah.
And the bulk of those teams, everybody can laugh at the moment, but it will happen again with Leeds because their academy is starting to produce some quality players, of which Newman and Oledzki are examples at the moment. I don't see that at Hull KR. That would be whereby every year they seem to change course a little bit.
Yeah.
We'll go and sign somebody because he had a good season at Bradford or whatever. But they don't spend enough of their focus on saying these kids over time will fill these positions.
wonder if a new coach will do that.
I think the problem is
because we all know who's going to be the next coach.
When you're at the bottom every year, you don't give yourself the time to do that.
Well,
so that
can we fast forward 12 months, right? If Toronto get promoted, right?
Callum Watkins in there.
They are going to come in and they are going to spend some money.
You're going to sign one too.
So,
don't be surprised if
who's going to be the
Watkins doesn't end up
favourites to go down next
This
year?
Yeah.
And you're going to be looking at Hull KR again.
That's if they stay up.
Look, I feel like I'm putting a boot in, but I wanted to. I don't know what it's like. There's a smell of death about it. I don't know I don't know what it is. It's like the other day, they're playing against 11 men and they can't score a try, and you think, for God's sake, how bad are you?
The strange thing about
the quality of player they've got out there
Should be
to do that, to create an overlap at the very least.
But then at the end, they're scoring tries for fun. You think, well, I don't get it.
We had a comment saying, are they spending money wisely by spending it on the stadium rather than players the same Super League? The answer, of course, is yes, they are spending it wisely, because every other team in Super League that hasn't done that has wasted millions of pounds in the last 20 odd years on crap rugby league players. So at least they're doing the right thing.
I have to say, I think that one thing you have to be, that ground improves all the time. Could just do a bit of tarmac in the car park rather than that swamp that we have to park in.
And buying the land around it is exactly what they should be doing. Creating an academy and an all-inclusive facility, that is fantastic. But it's also another reason why you've got to secure your future first.
You're not building an academy if you're not going to play the kids.
Well, you're bringing in John Bastian with the ultimate aim, I assume, of filling that void where they haven't produced enough quality kids. But you can't do that if they're in the Championship. Surely you secure your future and then you bring in people that you want to run the club. I think they've got it the wrong way around.
Everyone's favourite Hull KR fan, who people still get wound up by on Twitter. Sid's been on.
Oh, right.
Sid could cause an argument in a phone box with only Sid in.
Yeah.
Oh, first of all, good news, we're in the New Zealand podcast charts this week, so that's good.
Get in. It's happening.
I don't know how we managed that. Sid says, not a panic button at all. This is in response to your tweet earlier. Players are back. Formers picked up good timing, but he's not a big fan of Tim Sheens.
Okay.
I was just really disappointed with the way they played in the cup tie.
So I tipped them to win last week. I thought they'd win.
I thought most of that game was good.
I don't want to got wrong that.
And then it got good towards the end. I thought, at least I sent the tweet out at half time saying it's been rubbish so far. I thought I've got a got out here.
I was really impressed with Warrington for an hour, but I think their vulnerability showed a little bit.
I think under pressure, and this is why I said earlier that Hull are going to win the cup, right? I said this to you last week, right?
Hull takes final.
Hull turn up when Hull want to turn up, right? Lee Radford doesn't know what's going on, right? They did it in the last round. They chucked it in the week before they beat Cass. They chucked it in the week before they beat Callum. It's gonna happen. I'll tell you what now, right? I will now. I don't know who they play the week before they play Warrington, right? They'll get hammered again. They'll get hammered because they're not bothered. They turn up. They play when they want to play, and that's what they do. And you know what? I think now
still going to be in the
Hull FC are a big game team now. I know they've lost the 2 semi-finals in the Super League, right? I tell you now, if they get in the playoffs at the end of the season and they've got everybody fit, they're the team that no one will want to play. Saints won't want to play them at home. Warrington won't want to play them at home, and that is the worry. And I think they are the team that they are a real threat. I think Hull.
I think the psychological marker they put down for that semi-final, I still go back to the fact that it's too early to talk about who's going to be available and who isn't. That victory at Warrington a couple of weeks ago will prey on Warrington's mind. Yeah. Psychologically, having beaten Hull by 50 or 60 the previous two, that Hull will now be sitting there going, we've got your measure now.
Yeah. So they went there and won, then they lost by 50 at Magic, and then they beat Catalan in the cup. You know, that's what they are at the minute. They play Salford this way, I think they'll win that one as well.
I'm not so sure, when you saw the tries, what Hull scored against Warrington a couple of weeks ago, how soft were they? I'm not so sure Warrington's defensive that soft again. Not in the semi-final.
Pressure on though.
Oh, the pressure's on.
Saying,
yeah,
they're expected. The money's been spent.
I agree.
The money's been spent. It's alright getting the finals, you got to win them. Sorry, Phil.
Tyres and footballs.
Yeah,
I agree, but I don't think Warrington's defence will be as soft as what it was a couple of weeks ago when
well,
they
it
played.
looked pretty soft at times in the second half.
Well,
All right,
they
they
take
might
the
be tired, but
They take the fourth
You
against, don't
you
they?
can't do that in the
That's what they
semi-final.
did against Wakefield, what, a few weeks, down at Wakefield, wasn't it, a few weeks ago when they walked 28
Yeah,
28 nil
Bruffy
up and
missed
then
the kick
Bruffy
at the
missed that kick to,
yeah,
in the end it would have been a win.
yeah,
Talking of Danny Brough, a risk to play him or something that Wakefield had to do?
Gotta play him.
I think they had to
Well,
do it.
Chance
And I
out-
think, to be fair to him, he wanted to play, so
Yeah.
let him play. You know.
What did Chris Chester say after the game? Something along the lines of, we lost to the better team. Saints are better than Wakefield. Saints won. Scoreline was what it probably should be. Wakefield are knackered.
What about Catalan's defence of the cup though? How pathetic was that on Thursday night?
I didn't watch
Hull
the
didn't
game,
have to
so
play
I
that
don't-
one.
I don't-
Never-
Hull didn't have to play that
I've
one.
never seen a more insipid defence of the trophy, ever.
It was pathetic,
They
wasn't
didn't
it?
spend that half
Yeah.
a million. It was a
Yeah.
waste of money, wasn't it?
Yeah, so what happens there then? Do they get that bond back?
Oh, no.
No, it was
Well
continued.
By the way,
These are diabetic.
these are yours, yeah.
They didn't pay anything. It was
Obviously.
contingent upon if they got to the final.
Right, and by the way then, are they knocking on Halifax's door? Halifax, you could give us 250 grand just in case you get there. You'll get it back. You get it back if St Helens do beat you. But can we have a bond of 250 grand now, please? Are they asking that?
Repeat
Well, if
the
you've got any sense, there'll be about 100 to 1 to beat St Helens. Just have a couple of grand on out of petty cash.
That's how it works.
Jobs are good.
That's how it works.
You covered.
They do.
You covered. No problem. By the way, we should really talk about St Helens, given that they
Well-
are the best team in Super.
Well, I'll tell you what, it was a good weekend for St Helens against Wakefield because they won by a combined total of a lot to 10 in the two games over the weekend. What, 66 plus 48? The amazing thing is that
114.
the amazing thing is actually counted all the St Helens points up right on Sunday. We'll talk about that later though. Some people were very upset with Wakefield's performance on social media, and those people are just, I don't know what planet they're living on. St Helens are the best team in the competition. They've lost once. Wakefield are just outside the top 5. They're where they've been for the last 2 years, but they've got a lot of key players out injured. They lost. I don't know what more you can. It's not as if Saints at Wakefield were awful. Saints were as good as they have been all year. They won. I don't see where the big upset comes from. Although, well, you know where the big upset comes from, don't you? Actually, it's Wakefield's recruitment for next year, because people are very upset that Ryan Hampshire may be leaving. But
They'll be very happy when they find out who's coming in.
well,
Just leave it at that.
as someone pointed out on one of the forums yesterday, people with short memories forget that Wakefield Trinity in the past, very recent past, have spent lots of money on players that they didn't have and went kaput. I'd rather they spend sensibly and not overpay what they think is the value of a player compared to what the player and their agent think is the value of the player.
Yeah, but they've gone from being bottom of the food chain and having to pay over the odds to get people to come.
Yeah.
So now they go. Now, you know, they'll be getting knocks on the door.
Yeah,
Oh, we
yeah.
want our player to
Yeah.
play. Okay.
Yeah.
They
Would
go, well,
those fans who are moaning about Hampshire, who may or may not leave, would they be happy if David Fixture had been allowed to leave because they didn't have an extra few quid?
And
to
that
spend on
goes
it?
back to what a
And
salary
it's
cap
as
is
simple as
supposed to
that,
do. If you have a weekly budget
can't
for your
have everything.
shopping, you can't have oysters every week. I think
well, you can for 3 weeks. And
Yeah,
then
so you
want
can't have
them
it
in.
every week.
Yeah.
I think the thing that is being underestimated about St Helens at the moment is they've got the complete game.
Yeah, they're great to watch.
And
They are great to
whereas last year, you know, people are saying, and I think you've possibly been in that camp a little bit, saying it's still all to prove for them that when they get to the
It is. It
the very
is.
big game.
It is.
There's something different about St Helens this year,
I think Lachlan Coots brought that.
but I
As
just
a
think
fullback.
they've got.
They're a better team. I
Yeah,
think.
but more than the team, they've got so many different options. When something isn't going right, they've got players that will come off the bench and change it, or they've got a Warmsley that can come back on and.
Well, I got slated last week for saying they had any injuries because they've obviously had Percival and Thompson have been out on
LMS has just
and
come back.
McCarthy Scars, but they've got a better squad. They've
Yes.
got. They haven't had. When I mean injuries, I mean if you take out Coote and Lomax, for instance, that would affect.
Alan
them.
Farge didn't play, did he? But I think that what they've got is not just a broader squad, but they've got different skills amongst their members of the squad.
Yeah.
They can play whichever. Their defence is better than it was last year already. And I think that their back line.
Well, I don't know if against Salford a couple of weeks ago, I'm not so
Yeah,
sure.
but
was that just a blip?
but
They've
they
only
found
lost
a way
one
to
sort
win.
of
I
game.
They found a way to
understand, but it's there, isn't it? It can't be there if you put pressure on them.
Well,
Well,
my point is,
I think their back division is as exciting as anything we've seen. The threat that they've got from every one of those players is a joy to watch.
The weekend as well, I was watching him pretty close. I was delighted for him as well. Young Richardson, he wasn't waiting just for the kick. He got himself involved. He was reading the game very well and reading the frees on twos and fours on frees down the blind side. Wanted to play with the ball in hand, and that's what I want to see him at Halifax.
But
That's
with
what I want to
Farge
see.
re-signing again.
Well,
It's not first year. Competition for places.
and that's
is
what it's
another
all
thing.
about. Competition for
Quality
places.
competition
It is.
for
But
places.
he had his best game for ages in Richardson because he wanted to play with ball in hand.
All of the kids that they've brought in have blossomed. They've had faith in them.
How good is he, like Morgan knows? How good is he?
brilliant.
He's going to be the if it's.
How exciting is Regan Grace?
Yeah,
at the
well,
moment? You know, we're
absolutely.
talking about
But
winners
he's-
for Great Britain.
Yeah,
He
but he's
probably-
not a wing. He's a winger. I'm talking about proper players here. I'm talking about loose forwards. I'm talking about
But
players who get
if
big,
you
not
were picking
wingers.
your Great Britain
Not
team
forward.
at the moment,
No, I won't have him as wingers, but there's makers. There's
Grace and Atkinson would be
McGilfrey.
your two wingers.
No, it wouldn't. McGilfrey had been there, but I'm talking about proper rugby league players here. I'm talking about wingers. I'm talking about Morgan Knowles for me. If he's not next year, the year after, he's going to be the best player in Super League easily. And if he don't get injuries, he's going to be the next 10 years.
How good was Alex
Easy.
Walmsley?
Oh,
When you
Alex
think
is
that this
sensational.
time last year his career was in
Absolutely. Oh, Walmsley's sensational. If well, I think the way Alex is going at this moment in time, you'd have to say he's the best front row in world rugby
He's
league.
one of them.
You know, he's up there.
The
He's up
other
there
thing
with Sam and
We've
James
said
Graham.
as well
He is.
that Hull have over-relied on Danny Houghton in the past. You could say the same about St Helens and James Roby, but now the workload is shared. Roby, it doesn't have to all go through Roby. He doesn't even have to play the full 80 minutes. That's where I think St Helens have got a
Do you know?
real base.
Do you know what James Rowe? There's a new dimension in James Rowe because it's a great point when you make from there because the front row is what he's got around him in Walls and Luke Thompson. Luke Thompson's going to be up there with your Warms and your Birdies and your Grahams, and maybe Liam Watts. You know, certainly. But what's brought Roby's different dimension is he's not waiting in the first half to make an impression. What James Roby's been, he's been more patient. How good is he for the last 30 minutes? Because the big boys have worn it down there, and all he's done then is just played his head up from there. Said, "Yeah, I'm picking my point here now."
Absolutely.
So what Roberts done? He's took his game to a different dimension from being good server, and then I'll scoop. Now he's becoming organised, patience, and then I'm off.
Yeah.
Great to see.
Yeah.
And what you see.
And that's
with
why I think they're different this year.
Oh, we've had that. And what you're seeing with Rob as well is he's playing with that smile on his face. He's enjoying his rugby league so much, it's untrue. He is. But the great to watch, and he's the head and shoulders above everybody else in Super League.
I also think you're right to pick out Lachlan Coote, and I think they mentioned it when Keighley was one of the summarisers this weekend, that when you've got somebody like Ben Barber who is going to dominate, because you see in training every day just how skillful he is. When you get into trouble, you just say, well, give it to the man and he'll sort it out. Coote isn't like that. And the way he's bringing the other players in, the way that he's calm and assured at the back, I think he again has added another dimension.
Oh, yeah.
And people are talking about, Blake Austin, Man of Steel, David Fafita. For me, at the moment, Lachlan Coote's the man.
Can't rule him out. But also as well, but Lachlan Coote and all, by all accounts, has he said that he's not comfortable goal kicking? Tell you what, he's not doing a bad job, is he? He's not comfortable being a goal kicker. He's kicking them from everywhere.
Dean, you mentioned players coming to Wakefield.
Yes.
Dean said, is it Alex Walker? Because he's in the paper today.
Alex Walker from
He's a
London.
lovely player. He's a really
What
good
position is
player.
he?
fullback.
Oh, he's a fullback.
He's a great player.
Okay.
Did we mention Alex Mellor going to Leeds earlier?
Has that been announced, or I know it's the rumour? isn't it?
Speculated.
Yeah, it'll happen.
It's in League Express, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is he second row or centre?
Back row.
Oh,
Back row.
speaking of League Express, well, I remember, because I will forget. It was interesting. You remember when the Times, the Times, the big rugby league organ that is,
Yeah.
dropped their rugby league coverage. There was a big thing about, a big fuss made about it in the papers.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say that rugby league people are more likely to read the Sun, because I know people don't like the Sun, right?
Yeah.
And that's fine. You are allowed to have an opinion on which newspapers you do or don't like. The editor of the League Express, who made a big thing about the Times dropping rugby league coverage, has made no comment at all on the Sun.
Have they dropped it? Or...
Well, it seems so, doesn't it? There's been no coverage in the last couple of weeks, and one would suggest that the Sun newspaper, target audience of, would probably have a big overlap with the audience of Rugby League.
I think it goes back to
interesting.
what you say about why the game needs to have one governing body. Neither the Super League nor the RFL can afford the major national newspaper not to cover the sport. Major as in the number of sales it gets, and that is indisputable. In the days of Maurice Lindsay, love him or hate him, if a newspaper decided it was going to drop its Rugby League coverage, he would have been either in a car straight down to see the editor, or he would have been on the phone that very morning. There's links between the Sun and News International, Sky, who obviously are big supporters of the game. This shouldn't be allowed to happen, and everybody involved in the running of the sport should be extremely concerned it might even be happening, and that somebody needs to grab this. And when you've got two different organisations going in different directions, nobody's going to pick that up. But we are not. It says something about the current profile of Rugby League. If a national paper can blithely decide we don't need you anymore, especially when you're going to do a television deal, that would be a concern.
Yes.
But it's alright, they put a headline on the front saying fax machine, which no one's used apart from the Football League since 1995. And Ken Bates, obviously.
I still use them. I send my teletext messages by fax. Can you get Gmails on them fax machines?
I believe that as well.
Yeah?
No,
Can't you?
can't cope with it.
Michael's concerned about St Helens because they lost at Catland and it was wet. And grand final weather, wet.
Ah.
So,
I lost by 1 point.
yeah.
I tell you what, can you? But it's 11 years since St Helens have been at Wembley. I can't believe that stat when I heard it. Can you?
I know,
Is that
that's
11
frightening,
years?
isn't it?
And again, that's a motivation for them.
Yeah. And there's never been, someone told me today, there's never been a Warrington St Helens Cup final. I didn't know that. That may or may not be true. Someone told me that, so I'm guessing it is true.
I can't remember one.
No.
So I can't go back to 1897.
But we may be having a whole St Helens one here.
I mean, I was convinced because obviously, as we know, anyone on social media yesterday knows the Challenge Cup draw is fixed. I was convinced it was going to be all Halifax.
Someone just tuned in at that moment and go, whoa!
I'll have Andy Wilton email me in the morning. Because, of course, there are only 3 different combinations of semi-finals, so everyone who claims it's fixed because they predicted it are idiots. I was convinced it was going to be Hull, Halifax and Saints wanting to have the Yorkshire Lancashire thing, because that's the other thing that always happens, isn't it? But not this time. It's going to be a good day out at Bolton. Everyone's going to enjoy themselves. The Halifax fans are going to enjoy themselves. They've got 8 weeks to make some money selling shirts and whatever with wear off to Bolton on kind of things. So it'd be a good, fun day. Hopefully it's a sellout.
There's no reason why it shouldn't be with the Women's Challenge Cup final. We having been to the last one, would encourage everybody to get there early to watch.
I'm going to be quite sad because that'll end my...
Has your contract been renewed, or are you getting the gig?
Probably not after tweeting about Robbie Hunter-Paul at the weekend. I should say it's never a criticism of Robbie Hunter-Paul. It's a criticism of whoever thinks it's a good idea. Because it's not.
No,
it's
not.
a terrible idea.
It just don't work.
What do we get from interviewing somebody who doesn't want to be interviewed because they're doing the warm
But they didn't. But even.
And what do they say in the one question that you ask them that increases your knowledge of how this game is going to go?
But then they had him just randomly on the pitch after a try, not even speaking to anyone.
Yeah,
and
he sounded out of puff. He sounded out of puff, which didn't look great.
As I always say, Sky had Baz and Tez doing it when they had the championship 10 years ago, and they stopped doing it for a reason. We've got to stop patronising. It's like on the early rounds of the FA Cup, they have some idiot interviewing the manager during the game. But they don't do it when it gets to Man United versus Liverpool, do they? They don't say, oh, Jurgen, what do you think's going on here? Stop patronising us.
They should tell them to get lost.
Well,
Tell them to get lost.
you know, I think we'd all club together and do a GoFundMe and pay the fines for anyone who did tell whoever.
So what do you reckon about Halifax beating Saints? So Halifax have to play like Tarzan and St Helens they all have to play like James. Is that right? Or cheaters?
Oh, you can't say
What do you
that.
think? What do you think?
I mean, 2019.
Can Halifax win?
Nah.
Any outcome is possible?
Yeah.
Can Halifax win?
Andrew Ruiz Jr.
I might be looking to do, like in New Zealand, in the World Cup when South Africa played New Zealand and all the New Zealanders were ill. Maybe it needs some skullduggery. That's all I'm going to say.
Find out the night before and say, what do you want, lads, some steak?
Dodgy Pete.
A bit of pepper sauce.
Yeah. Who knows?
Who was that Deliveroo driver?
They're all at 4 o'clock. Some funny noises coming out here.
Yeah. You never know. You never know. And well, you know what? Solid. Well done, Halifax. They've got
Absolutely.
that.
Well
Get
done.
the money.
Well done.
Enjoy.
Well
What
done.
would be nice is if Halifax could get 3,000 or 4,000 fans.
I think they will do.
who will
think they
go
will.
back irrespective of the result.
I think they will.
And I think that's
think they will.
what I liked what Simon Grick said afterwards, that we dropped
Yeah.
down the pecking order in the town, and this is our chance to get back up there, and hopefully some people are seeing us for the first time or renewing their acquaintance with us and come along and support us. And what you want is not whether Halifax get to Wembley or not. I still think Halifax should be looking at the 1895 Cup, because they've taken that spirit to the semi-final of the Challenge Cup. They could go on and still get to Wembley through the 1895 Cup. That would be real progress for them. I just hope that the attendances at the Shea increase on the back of what they're doing.
I mean, the attendances in the 1895 Cup, it is the competition that has captured the hearts of the nation.
The
AB Sunday.
Sundays.
And by the way, we shouldn't criticise the sport for getting a sponsor, as people are doing on social media, but you can all, anyway.
So the 1895, because when I've seen on
1895.
CFAX, it says iPro Cup. Is that what's sponsored by iPro?
Oh, it used to be.
18.
See, that's how out of date
But
CFAX is.
it's nice to come
Hold
in for
on,
competition,
he got the right results on it, you see, so it can't be. It says iPro Cup, so it's
That's been out
1895
for
Cup.
years.
No,
That's what it said on CFAX.
That was only one cup.
iPro Cup.
By the way, Wyatt played Saints in the 1981 Lancashire Cup final. See,
No, I said in the Challenge
I
Cup,
know.
didn't I?
That's the real.
Has he not got a
Lancashire Cup,
sponsor in
not a favourite.
1895 Cup?
Yeah,
Yeah.
AB Sundays.
Yeah.
Mr.
As it's described as Derek
yes.
Beaumont's company.
Exactly.
in the paper
Beaumont
today.
Lee.
Oh, is it? Oh,
Derek
right,
Beaumont's
okay.
company.
Yeah, but I don't think we're supposed to. Even though we all know, I don't think we're supposed to say that.
Has it been divulged how much he's paid for it?
Oh, come on,
I think he's put a sunbed in at Red Hall.
man.
I didn't know there
Meanwhile,
was such demand for Sundex,
but in fairness, Lee got the biggest crowd of the weekend in the 1895 Mega Cup. So,
They did.
Because a
Like
lot of these,
Workington.
some of them were not very
They're
good.
doing all right, Lee, actually. in
Yeah.
fairness to them this
Yeah.
year. Better
Well,
than
to
I
say they're
thought they
skint
would
and
do.
they've got no money to sign players. They've done very well,
Yeah.
having signed some players.
Good win for Donny. They beat Oldham.
Yeah, they're the
Gareth
lowest
Hock-
ranked team
Gareth
out of the
Hock back
competition.
for Lee, by the way,
Yeah.
this week.
Lee 62, Workington 12. York 30, Newcastle 16. Tries from Oaks and Vivi. God bless.
And
Julie
Marsh.
Just
Where were they from originally?
Dewsbury beat Swinton, so a good win for Dewsbury.
Hey, listen, talking about, Mark, I won't be saying that. You talk about Vivi, Hulky R player. Did you hear the story about him at the derby? Did you not heard about that?
No.
Vivi? He didn't want to play the derby because he's not comfortable under high balls. So obviously, he reckoned Mark Steen, and he told the coach, I don't want to play the derby because I'm not comfortable under high balls. How pathetic is that?
It's like having a walking,
Eh?
talking.
And that's
nosy
come-
Parker column in the
And
studio.
that's come from an ex-Hulky Rovers player who I was with last Friday night. Yeah.
Oh,
Can
by
you
the way-
believe that? Didn't want to play in a derby.
Going to see some great coverage of rugby league on BBC this
I mean,
week.
the wonders at York. Eh?
Randomly watching BBC One after breakfast had finished, because I can't watch ITV because you can't watch him. Don't watch him. And they had a programme called Secret Charity Cheats On, which of course featured Bright Sodgy. He was on there, former Wakefield winger. Go on, Bright. Bad times, but good to see rugby league on the telly again, which is good news. What is the 1985 Cup? Says Tokolosh.
The 1895
Yeah,
Cup even.
1985 Cup. Not what that is. But yes, there's 3 more games this week.
There are.
Halifax Sheffield, which has been played in Keighley. Winners versus Featherstone, which has been played in Winners. It's 12 off now. And Barrow versus Bradford, which is on the app. Apart from
Yeah.
Bradford are taking the reserves. Because John Key didn't realise it was being played in midweek or something.
Yeah.
Ah well.
Yeah.
Well, if Bradford don't get to Wembley in the 1895 Cup, having been the biggest team in this competition and would take the most people there.
Their
What-
chairman will write a column about it.
What if the 1895 Cup final is no disrespect between two teams who take the sum total of 2,000 people to Wembley?
I think it's the getting
Oh,
to
that's life.
it's
Yeah,
the
I know
getting
about that.
it's getting to Wembley. It's
Yeah.
it's an ideal opportunity for teams who don't have that limelight anymore to have a day in the sun.
I guarantee
And I'm
whoever
a-
gets there, they'd take 5,000 each. Whoever gets
Whenever it's
there.
gone home.
Yeah, but so what? So what?
They've just scheduled it badly. I don't know why.
Yeah, but it was either that or they couldn't do it. So it will be different. We understand next time, hopefully.
I would love Halifax to get to that final on the basis of the fact that I think what they've shown us in the main competition is that their fans deserve a day out at Wembley. I don't think they're going to get it in the Challenge Cup final. I'd love to think that they could be there anyway, supporting their team in the 1895 Cup.
Could be. Yeah, Barrow, Bradford, Halifax, Sheffield, Widnes, Featherstone.
Which is no disrespect to Sheffield, because I think they would be great at Wembley.
Yeah, well, they weren't great at Widnes, were they, this week? They got battered 36-6. Game over, really, at half time, 26-0 down. Job done for Widnes, who move out of the relegation zone
Big
with that
result
victory.
for Widnes.
Yeah, so well done to them. Right, anything else we want to talk about? What do we need to talk about?
Shall I talk about Women's Super League? 'Cause I was there yesterday.
You were there yesterday.
I was there at Wakefield. St Helens, they're quite good. I don't know if you've seen them. They won 66-0. Counted the score up exactly right as well. But I didn't
You
get...
sound like you want some kind of medal for
Well,
that.
no,
You know,
no.
that is your job when you're commentating on the game.
Yeah, everyone else thought it was 68 now.
Did you not see that? Anyway, what about the BBC yesterday?
Oh, what
I
about
understand Matt Newsom did a great job yesterday, so congratulations to Matt, friend of the show. But when they got the penalty try, they put 8 points on the
Yes.
scoreboard, didn't they? And
The
then when they kicked the
commentator
goal,
said
they went up to 10. I'm like,
It's an 8-point try. It's not been given yet.
Yeah, but you
don't
can
get-
imagine.
you don't get
someone,
8 points
someone's
for
got
the
the
try.
guy. It's an 8-point try, and the young kid doing the things on. Hey, yeah, yeah.
We were 10-6. We said hey, we were 10-1. We didn't kick goal yet.
Because
He had been awarded a kick goal.
I was working, so I had it on, but no sound, and I'm like thinking, have they scored twice? I didn't realise what happened.
I thought I missed a try.
Yeah,
In the
that's
second
what I
half,
mean.
what was it, 6-2 or something, or 6-0 at half time. And it was supposed to be going to be 8-6, and I thought, well, have I missed a try here? When it came up 10-6.
No, it was the work experience guy. And eight for a try.
Yeah,
Did you have any problem with that awarding, by the way? Because I know
I'm
John
not
Keir
saying-
afterwards said he wasn't sure it was a.
No, it was. He took him out in the air, and he tackled him round the head.
I
I
seen
thought
it,
what
yeah.
didn't get enough credit was Steve Tyrer getting
Putting
the
the ball
ball down
down,
without
yeah,
having
he
his
did.
head on.
Yeah.
That was
No, I
a
had no issue with
magnificent
that.
piece of skill to actually touch down.
Fair try.
And he was fouled in the act of
Yeah,
scoring.
fair try, and it was a penalty try.
Good call, yeah. Good call. What are you looking for?
Well, the women's scores, because I don't like that one.
Ah,
I know it was 66-0 because I said that. I only got one player's name on as well. on the
70-0
tries,
to Leeds, I can tell you,
so
at York.
you can go with the highlights on Twitter, on YouTube.
Are they?
Steve's got some good tries. Yeah, Wigan won 42-4 over Fev, and as Phil says, Leeds won 50-0 over York. So it's a cast top because they didn't play against Bradford because they play on Thursday. Saints joined top and Leeds on 8, but Castle obviously played a game less, so fewer. So yeah, exciting. They're good. St Helens. They were very good in defence. Didn't give Wakefield a single chance. I think the first time.
were there many
Wakefield,
there?
No. The first time Wakefield got in the Saints 20 was in the second half. That's how dominant St Helens
Well,
were.
look, St Helens are a very well coached, well drilled side, and
But it
these
goes,
things happen.
again, it goes back to what I was saying about the crowds and things. We've got to promote this, and again, we're split as a sport. So, who's doing what? It's a lot of. It's National Volunteer Week, isn't it? A lot of stuff involved in rugby league, men's, women's, kids, whatever, is run by volunteers. I'm not sure if we necessarily give them enough help to push the things we need to push, especially not when, you know, we were talking about the website last week, so I don't need to mention it again.
Is Dave Furness still the coach of Leeds? He's a coach of the
I
website.
know. I do like people who write to the paper complaining that the FA Cup finals on the same day as Catalan's Wigan, as if the RFL can move. But I'm blaming the RFL, which of course is not their fault.
Yeah.
So, I assume that at the News Stadium you're playing here on this day at this time, and there's not much wiggle room there. But it's all right. So it's Rob Elson's fault, or Ralph Rimmer, or something like that. I don't know. We live in interesting times. I just can't see this big televised deal for the championship. I know people are taking a lot of stock based on the figures from the summer bash, but a terrestrial broadcast is not going to pick up a game a week live on a Saturday afternoon or whatever. They're not interested. Look at what's on BBC One on a Saturday afternoon. If they haven't got big sport, they still repeat some bargain hunts. Because people will watch bargain hunts.
They would be interested if the production costs were paid, which is what other sports do.
They're not going to.
So how are we going to sell the products then? Because you know there's all these marketing gurus out there and all this sort of thing. How are we going to sell the product then?
I I was talking to a colleague of ours, James Butler, who's written a few books about cricket, and he wrote an article last week about the 100 because they've invented this new cricket competition to attract people to watch cricket who are not interested in cricket. And the reality is, cricket's been around for years. If people aren't interested in cricket, they ain't going to watch cricket. And we've got the same issue. If people aren't interested in rugby league, they're not necessarily going to watch rugby league. Do we promote the right personalities? No. Some people have an open book of contacts where they can do whatever they want and speak to whoever they want within the game and use it incorrectly and promote the wrong people. You know, we've got a great Ben Curry's tackle on Friday that stopped the try with great call back to the tackle at Wembley, which stopped him winning the Challenge Cup.
Yeah.
Was a superb piece of rugby league.
Ben Curry did drop the ball Just want to put that out there. He did drop the ball.
He's dropped the ball.
If he didn't drop the ball, he would have scored. Don't matter whether he got tackled or not. He dropped the ball.
There's
Am I
Ben.
allowed to say that? He did, didn't he?
I think he
Dropped
just
the
did.
ball.
I don't know if Ben Cruz is a good speaker. I don't think I've ever spoken.
Yeah, he's, nice.
Yes, he
he's
is.
a very good young man.
Right,
He
so
is.
there you go. There's a perfect example of a player who A, is any good, B, hasn't done anything bad, has he?
Not the way.
See,
Well, other than his a great redemption story, having
Well,
come back from
that's
two
it. The,
knee
the
injuries.
redemption stories we pick out are the wrong ones. Here's a guy whose career could have been over or whatever, may not have been the same player, has come back and hasn't skipped a beat and does something amazing on the pitch. These are the people we need to promote. But we need to get them out there.
And
Well,
there's
I-
two things. One
It's not my
is
job.
goes back to what you say about the major national newspaper not covering the sport. If they're not prepared to do it, then television companies again are not going to see the sport. So one of the things we need to do is rectify that as soon as we can. I think the other thing is we've got to be smarter about what we put out on social media. And that tackle may well have been replayed, but it should immediately have been contrasted with tackle 62 or 52, wasn't it? And that comparison, somebody sitting there with access to those clips should have put them together and put them out. Be that Super League, the RFL. I don't think we've got enough resource to have two different people looking at how we present
Well, they spend
ourselves.
a hell of a lot of money at Super League, so you'd think they'd have enough people to do it, wouldn't
But they wouldn't do it for the Challenge Cup, would they? 'Cause
No,
it's not
that's
their
fair enough.
competition.
Yeah,
so
fair.
that's
I'll
what I'm
take that
saying.
back.
If we spend that money and it's good money, we can only spend it once. So, but we've got two different arms looking after different parts of it, which it doesn't work. You know, we need to decide what we want to be. So said it before. You don't need to watch the NRL anymore. You don't even need to subscribe to the NRL app. But I guarantee that on Wednesday, when the State of Origin is on, anybody who's got any rugby league on their Twitter timeline will be bombarded with what's happening in State of Origin. You'll see every major tackle, you'll see every break, you'll see every try as it happens. You will not be able to avoid it. And then all of a sudden, State of Origin will be tweeting throughout the world. It'll be one of the top performing whatever.
Trending topic.
Trending.
Like Scott Moran.
Yeah, it'll trend because you won't be able to avoid it. We don't do that enough. We don't use the platform that most young people are turning to these days quickly enough. It's no good putting out highlights 2 days after it's happened or an hour after the game's happened. It's got to be instantaneous. And the idea is you get so caught up in it, you say, well, where's this being shown live? Can I either pay some money and watch it now, or I'll go to my Sky subscription and I'll watch the game. I can't wait for Wednesday. I have no real vested interest in who wins. I can't wait. And again, I go back to something that you said earlier about young players being given an opportunity and age isn't a factor. You look at the two benches of New South Wales and Queensland, they've got very few, if any, State of Origin appearances between. Nearly all of them are teenagers. They're being given an opportunity. Nobody says, oh, you've got to be 25 to play State of Origin and really understand it. So some of the kids that we've not seen before on a regular basis will blow us away. And they'll be promoted the hell out of while we're watching it. Payne Haas will be one of them. Because he's massive, it's huge. And he plays in Queens, plays for Brisbane, but he's playing for New South Wales. And he's the big sensation coming off the bench. I guarantee that by Wednesday lunchtime, a load of people that never heard of Payne Haas will know he's
Well, you can see, like the superstar have made out of Troy Mitchell.
Yeah.
You know, he's only 20 years of age. He came on,
I think he might be a bit older now.
21 now.
But
He
he's
came
at the beginning
on,
of his career.
he came on the scene as 18, 19-year-old from there, and after one or two games, we need to rest him. What the Australians do, and I know it myself because I was out there playing at 19 years of age, so was Crooks and Gregory and Lyne and this sort of thing. They put the trust in you. You go out there and perform, and you stay there. That's what the Australians do. And this is what over here I don't understand it where.
Yeah, 21.
These young kids and developing, and they get so-called fatigued, and you can't play them week in and week out. Of course you can, because look, if they can't do it at 19 and 20 years of age, when can they do it? Do you know what I mean? I just don't understand it. I don't, and let them express themselves. Don't, whatever's got them there in that position, don't take it away from it. I said it in my column this week with the halfbacks. Look at some of the halfbacks, and now, and what I would delight with, as I mentioned with Richardson, the way that he played, he wanted to play with the ball in hand. At this moment in time, look at two of the halfbacks who. When he made his debut for Cass Truman, the way that he just took the game by the scruff of the neck, organised it, scored a hat-trick and since then he's gone backwards because all he's doing, exactly like George Williams is doing now, he thinks the attacking motion is by kicking the ball, waiting for the last tackle. He's just not playing with his eyes up, he's just not playing the numbers game. don't take it away from what they've got. You don't see the Aussies doing that, but unfortunately we do, because it's just unfortunately becoming too structured. We're not allowing our halfbacks to play when we're 40 metres out. We've got to wait until we're over the halfway line and wait for the kick.
Is that right, or is it just that he is a very, very marked man? And if you're playing Cass, you would feel if you stop him, then you maybe don't need to worry about the other side. He's not got Luke Gale with him, has he? If Luke Gale's playing, it takes half the heat off him.
Well, he's got experience of playing in Jordan Rankin, but what you do, you don't need to be involved all the time. You just step back and just say, well, I know they're looking for me, but they're not going to get me because I'm not going to be bothered for the next 4 or 5 minutes.
Isn't that
planning and plotting what you're doing?
Isn't that why St Helens works at the moment? Because Johnny Lomax doesn't have to be involved.
Phil, I keep saying that. Phil, I say it week in and week out, but the responsibility is not yours every set of 6.
But also, it doesn't matter who's playing with him, whether it's
correct.
Farge or Richardson.
It's having that right balance.
And when Lomax now I think he's the most underestimated player playing for St Helens at the moment. But we know what Coop has done.
Phil?
But how good is Lomax at the moment?
Phil and Mark,
He did try to referee the game as well.
how many times have I said, me, when I was playing, just say, go on, have 5 minutes. And I mention his name very much. Often Maskey, just take him over 5 minutes. Because what you're doing, you're plotting. You're playing from there.
You've been asked on Truman there.
Have you not seen him for the last few
Look who
weeks?
he's got playing with him.
I think when you don't have a half-back partner,
Judging
a
when you're
regular
at full
partner,
strength, mate, I think that's a poor.
Well, I'll tell you what. All right then, when Gale does come back,
He'll be at Leeds.
well, let's hope so, to be honest, as a Leeds fan. But when Gale does come back, Luca wants to do it all, so what's Truman going to do then?
Because Truman do as much.
Because Truman is
more exciting.
Well, Truman is but what I'm saying with Truman, he's a creative player, he's not a support player. So what's he going to bring?
He'll be all right. He did all right.
I like him, but unfortunately, same as the George Williams, they've gone backwards because all they're doing, they're not making things happen. They're waiting for things to happen. That's not what halfbacks do.
I'm not so sure.
If Gale was going to go,
You watch.
who did Castleford get?
I don't know.
Ryan Hampshire.
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I'm only, there's some mileage in
just
that.
saying, if he was to go, if Cass were prepared to let him go, and again, it might be a wise business decision on the basis they don't know what he's going to come back. He'll be one of their top earners. So, but who would they go for?
I don't know.
If you haven't worked out, by the way, this week I'm anti-Lee, according to Glyn.
Who would
I
they
don't
get?
know.
Why do you always have a dig at Lee? Because they said they had no money and then they've signed loads of players.
If Darryl Powell goes, will they go for a coach? Richard Marshall? He's been mentioned.
Maybe.
At Cass.
Greg Minikin supposedly going to Hull KR.
Yeah. I think
have Castleford become a?
I think
Selling club. Clarkson's got. Is it Clarkson?
Clark.
Mitch Clark, he's got a Wigan, hasn't he?
Oh, he's reportedly signed. Yeah. But
Tautai's off the case.
Apparently George Griffin replaced him at Cass. Is that an upgrade or?
I don't mind George Griffin. I don't
He's
mind
never
him
let
on a
anybody
great
down.
deal of money,
No.
But I don't know. And again, it's salary cap. If we can think Mitch Clark's worth twice what Cass think he's worth, then he's got to go on it.
As a sport, are we still paying Johnny Lomax to be an ambassador?
I don't know.
Should Wigan sign Callum Watkins?
Would Callum Watkins want to go to Wigan?
Why don't we go for one basket case?
Go where his best paid is, but
I
is
think
that
he'll
the
go
kind?
Warrington.
Is that I think he
He'll
will
go
either
Warrington.
or Toronto. But
Why would anybody want to go to Wigan at this moment?
I'm just saying, should Wigan be linked with him?
Yeah, they should
They're
be.
supposedly losing Dan Sargentson.
Why was he going?
Apparently, he's considering his options.
Fair enough.
Everything's happening.
Who's right? Here's one then. Who's going to make the top 5 then? Let's have a look at this then, because I think we're getting to the point now where we're talking about Castleford. I mentioned it before. What's Hull KR's ambition? Castleford. They've been really unlucky with injuries. We can't deny that.
They have.
But it seems like they've hit a bit of a wall, and they're not as good as they once were. And I watch them play now, and they always look to be labouring. I think if you took Liam Watts out of their team at the minute, I really think they'd struggle.
No two ways about it.
I know they've got injuries, and people say, "Oh, he ain't playing." I get that.
But some of their key players aren't playing.
Yeah, and some of their key players are not playing at the level. Gary just mentioned one there. They're not playing at the level they were 18 months ago, and that worries me.
And I think Mike McMeekin is coming back into that kind of form. But one or two of their key players are not playing.
Matt Meakin.
McMeekin's just starting to play at that level again, I think.
Yeah.
They're not ambassadorial player.
Do you want to get to spec service?
No, I think he's in. Yeah, I think he is.
You sure?
Yeah. Just started
Anyway,
to.
well, the top three then, I think that's already cemented now because Catalans,
Well-
they'll win a few games.
well,
so
the thing about
Saints,
Catalan-
Wellington, Catalans, yeah,
And
they're in the top.
Catalan-
They're in the top three.
The thing about Castellan is, and we probably haven't stressed this enough, you brought it up and you were absolutely right to do so, how abject they were against Hull.
Pathetic.
That had they put in that performance ordinarily, it would have been appalling. But to be the defending holders of that
and
trophy,
do that,
it
yeah.
was doubly
Good call.
appalling.
Good call.
Does that mean that they will then, the McAlorums and the Tompkins will be so incensed with that they'll get the guys round and say, look, we're third, we're not going to give this up? Or will they shrug their collective shoulders and go, well, we gave it a shot?
Well, wasn't he brought to Catalans for the winning mentality, Matty Smith? Oh boy. Yeah,
Well, he can't get in the team.
well, he's bringing a winning mentality. But anyway, yeah, so the top three
But
for me.
McAlorum's re-signed,
Yeah.
which is important for them.
Them
I
three,
think.
them three will make the three. But then you got Hull, Cass, Wakefield, Salford, and the Giants. And we, well, I think we
Are you
mentioned.
including Salford and the Giants in that?
Well, I think we mentioned it 3 or 4 weeks ago. I don't really think you can pick the other two because of the inconsistency. And do you know what? And when you do look at it, and I read Parcells piece in the League Express, and he's saying even though we are playing crap, even though we are rubbish, even though we are inconsistent, do you know
No,
what?
they are consistent.
Is that a direct quote?
No, they're consistent.
Consistently crap, right? But he said, you know what? We're only 6 points off the 5, and he's right. So the question is, all right, you never know, London, Hull, and Leeds to get them, and
Not mention Wigan.
and Wigan again. Can they go on a run of 4 or 5 games that'll get him in that 5?
Well,
because
I think you're going to
all
know
the
Wigan
others,
in the next 5 weeks.
yeah,
Because
because
they're
all the
playing
others are
some teams
inconsistent,
around.
aren't they? We had
Well,
that discussion
Hull
4 weeks
twice,
ago, didn't we?
Leeds.
Yeah.
But I think we'll say, yeah, in the top 3, Saints, Warrington, and Catalans, I think they'll be in the top 5. But then the others,
I'm not
you can-
convinced yet about Catalan, who now have to go to Warrington this week and could be slipping down the pecking order. Because I never saw that result coming, and I don't care how good Hull were on Thursday, and they were clinically
Hull
great.
didn't have to be good.
39 points in a half.
They didn't have to be
Not
good. They
acceptable.
didn't have to be good.
They
Did they?
were everything they did came off. They
You
were
know,
clinical. They really
you know,
were.
Catalans in that
And
second half.
Sneed was great.
Catalans in that second half were what Hull were against Huddersfield
Yeah.
the week before.
But
Wasn't they? You know, Hull couldn't believe
all
how
of
easy
those
it was.
teams have got a 50-point defeat.
Is what?
All
Yeah.
those teams, Catalan, Hull,
Oh yeah, they got 50
They've
points
all
again.
got-
Oh, I agree.
even
Oh, yeah,
Wakefield.
Yeah, I agree.
Cass, they've
Yeah.
got a big defeat.
I agree with Huddersfield.
Yeah, but
I agree.
Catalan, if you say there's 13 games left, 6 of them at home, they'll probably win 5 of them. That's putting them on 30 points.
Yeah, it should be enough to get them in the
nearly
fight.
there. Yeah, that's nearly there already. So I think
And
they'll
you'd
be-
hope that they would build on the cup win.
Yeah, you would hope so.
If they're going to go back to Barcelona and have a huge event every year, they need to be seen to be improving every season.
What have you brought, Richard?
No, it's still working.
No.
That's
Right,
right.
well, all right, then top
So-
three's there. So who's joining them?
I can't say.
Well, just
I'd
with
like
that.
to say Wakefield because I think they deserve to be there on the basis of the fact that I think the last 2 seasons have been 5th. They've improved the team this year. They've had a huge run of injuries where they've lost some. Again, we said it before. When your squad isn't as big as you'd like it to be, you lose 3 or 4 players, and it really affects you. But having some of those coming back, like the Bill Tupers, I think Wakefield deserve to be in the top 5. Not that deserve gets you anywhere, but
No.
I
I think the top 4 will be in. I think Hull are in. I think
I'm
Hull.
saying Hull, yeah, I'm saying Hull.
I know I said the other way. I think Wakefield
Yeah.
can win Super League. I think they can. I think this year is a more different Super League than we've ever had before. In that, I genuinely think whoever comes in the top 5 could win the competition. You're not going to have a.
if everybody's fit. I would put
Yeah,
that right.
yeah, but there's always someone in you go, yeah, they're just going to get hammered in the first week of the playoffs. You know, I genuinely think whoever gets in, and I think that's why Hull will get the wins in it to get in, and I think once it comes to cup
I
football,
like the
think
top
they're
5.
gonna-
I think the top
they're gonna-
5 is a brilliant idea. I think
Yeah,
the team that finishes top gets a deserved second chance, gets a rest, and it's an elimination from 5th. So if you're going to win it from 5th or even 4th, you do have to do it the hard way.
Yeah.
It's not like you turn up for 80 minutes and you're on and the opposition are off and you beat them. I think there is some degree of form that you've got to have at the right time of the season. You've got to win a couple of really, really tough games away on the road.
Yeah.
So I love the top 5. But there might be a team, and Leeds have done it twice from 5th. You get into that groove of winning those tough games away from home and it almost becomes irresistible.
I'll tell you, we're looking at look at Leeds here now. We're talking about a run of maybe going on for Leeds' point of view, 2 or 3 games, but you look at Leeds' next 5 fixtures: Wakefield away, Wigan at home, Saints away, Catalans at home, and Cass away. Is that 3 victories what they're looking for, or is it 5 defeats?
Leeds are in a relegation battle, and their first job has to be.
So we're ruling Leeds out of the 5. So we'll rule London, Ulster, and Leeds out of the 5. It's Warrington, it's Wigan, Huddersfield, Salford, Wakefield, and Cass for the 5th spot, because we're saying Hull in there as well. Is that what we're saying?
I think Wakefield will edge out Cass.
Do you think Wakefield will get there, do you?
Yeah, I do. I think Cass will miss out. Sadly, there's
you know
something not right at that there. At the minute.
Do you know? I have a bit of a sneaky feeling here. Huddersfield.
Do you think?
I have, yeah.
I think there's,
With
there's
no other
something about
distraction.
Huddersfield, isn't
Well,
there?
I think Huddersfield and Cass this week.
It's back on now, Rich.
I know, but it keeps going off about it.
I think
Yeah.
Huddersfield and Cass is a really interesting game.
I
This
think,
week,
maybe
because
I think maybe Huddersfield could maybe sneak in that 5th spot.
if Huddersfield are going to elevate themselves, they need to beat the teams above them. They need to stop looking at the teams below them and say, look, we've ruled out the chance of relegation. But if we're serious, if we can capitalise on the way we played against Hull, if we're going to be serious about meaning in the rest of this season, we need to go and win it against Cass. And if they can, they're right back in the mix.
Oh, yeah, exactly. They are.
the spider leg team are playing well at the moment. Down on McIntosh, Cruz Lehman, and certainly Gaskell that stand off. Do you know what? If all
The only way
fails
about
at
Huddersfield, Gary, is if Gaskell don't play.
if Gaskell
they're
don't
winning
play,
the
I
games.
agree totally. For me, I put it on Twitter last week. For me, Leeds should sign Gaskell. Leeds should go.
Yeah, you said Scott Morrell. Who
They
else?
can't
No,
sign-
I know I'm on about for this
They
season.
can't
For
sign
relegation,
everybody.
Scott Manor, but Gaskell for next year.
Can't
Because
sign
I think
everyone.
Gaskell's up, isn't it? I think Gaskell's not far.
He's got another couple of years.
No,
in his
yeah, but
league
anyway,
to
but
be
we'll
alive.
go get. Well, if they can't get go get Gaskell at number 6. Yeah, Scott Mill for relegation, same for relegation, and then Gaskell to take us forward. Yeah.
Fair enough.
This is the guy that thought Jordan would play for England after 1 game in the first team.
Well,
Hey, do you know what? Do you know what? When I saw it, I'll go. Well, all right. Hold on. I'll go back to 2015. If Jordan Lee was allowed to express himself like he did then, he would still be the Leeds number 7.
Where is the fault?
He would still the coach, Matt Dermott. The coach, Matt Dermott, maybe not fully what I've heard Jordan's attitude, but it's that is all about man management. That's not about coaching. That's about man management. But unfortunately, yeah, maybe Lily had too many opportunities, and Macca says, get lost. There you go.
fair enough. Right. Are we?
I don't know. I'm telling people to watch on YouTube because obviously Facebook's deciding to play up. But
Okay.
seeing as the YouTube numbers are the same and they're dropping, that suggests it's just a Facebook thing. There's nothing
Okay.
we can do. It's just
All right.
one of those things.
Watch it later. Right. We're doing the prediction.
Download the podcast.
Download the podcast.
100,000 people have
Yeah. Well done. Right.
without getting players to copy and tweet, paste the tweet
Why is it on Thursday this week?
because it's on Saturday instead. Because England are playing in the football.
Who's on Saturday then?
Warrington and Catalan.
Very good. Right.
Is on the telly.
Oh, sorry.
I didn't realise that was on the telly.
Yeah.
Right. We'll start off with Castleford.
Don't say it here though.
No,
Don't say it there.
it is though.
All right. You ready?
Oh, sorry.
It's all right. You ready? Castleford against Huddersfield, Gary. Who do
Well-
you think's going to win this one?
Well, I've just been saying there with Huddersfield, if they looking to make a charge for that top 5, and yeah, they're starting to hit the straps a little bit halfway through the season now. Cass, hit and miss. So I think the Giants, Gaskell's in good form. I mentioned the Spine's in good form as well. Cruz Lehman and Hooker and down on McIntosh. If he can count his mistakes at times, McGilvray the right service, he'll still score your try, still a quality winger. But Gaskell's the main man. The forwards will lay the foundation. I'm going for the Giants here. I'm going for the Giants by 10.
I think it's a massive game for both teams. I think Darryl Powell has been talking for the last 3 or 4 weeks that he's quite happy with the way his team are playing and that the injuries have disrupted them. There comes a point in your season though where, whether that's valid or not, you have to win. And I think we've reached that with Castleford. If they are going to do anything this year, they have to win this game. And I think the credit that they've got in the bank for the way that they've played the bulk of the last 2 seasons, I'm probably just going to favour them for that reason alone. So I'm going to go Cass, but I think this will be really close. Maybe Cass by 6.
Richard.
I'm going to agree with Scott and go with the Giants here. I can't work out Castleford. And as I've tipped Wakefield to finish above them in the league, I could do with going above them at some point in the near future. Huddersfield were very impressive when we saw them last at the Magic weekend against the Hull, who were just completely insipid. So I think it'd be a close one, but I'm going to go for the Giants by 2.
this does feel like a massive game, doesn't it? And I just, at the minute, I just can't see Castle. I just don't feel Castleford are going to win. I actually hope they do, because I hope they met the 5. I said they would at the start of the year. Nothing against Huddersfield. I like Wolford have said that. But I think it's Huddersfield's time at the minute. I think it's now or never for them. I think if they're going to mount a run, they need to get some wins in the next few weeks. The week off will hopefully do both teams a bit of good as well. But I think Huddersfield will win at Castleford by 4 points.
And you were good last week.
I must have been top now.
Yeah, but we didn't do the cup games with their account as part of the league.
Oh, what?
That never.
I got that Halifax one right.
I haven't updated it for weeks anyway.
Well, we'll just put me at the top then. Hull FC, they play when they want, take on Salford.
Who play when they want. So what we're going to get? I'm going to get.
Just toss a coin before I go out.
It's going to be 60-50.
I'm going to get a crap game where it's going to be a knock-on and the rubbish and the quality's going to be crap. Or are we going to get a quality game where there's going to be plenty of skill, plenty of teams getting ripped in. Jackson Hastings and Robert Louis with all the skills what they've got. Albert Kelly back to his bench, seen Jake Callum, Max Lee setting up tries, kicking goals everywhere, and we're going to get a points fest. But we don't know, do we? No. We just haven't got a clue what we're going to get. But I'm keeping my fingers crossed. Both teams turn up, get an entertaining game from there, and I think Hull will get it. And it's our Len's number. It's Len's number. It's Hull by 7.
I think Hull need to start building now. If they seriously are going to make an impression in the semi-finals, and they're also going to go back to Wembley, I don't think you can keep turning it on and off. What we've got with the Challenge Cup at the moment is you only need to win 3 games to get to Wembley. But I think that to be successful, you have to at some point become consistent. Salford, I have no idea about. Salford, we reliably informed everyone's leaving. Coach would be happy if he might even be offered a job elsewhere. Every player's signing up for somebody else. So you'd think there'd be no spirit in the team. But when we saw them against St Helens, it was one of the best hours we'd seen in Super League. So I have no idea which Salford is going to turn up or what motivation they've even got this year. But I just think Hull have to play from now to Bolton. I don't think they can afford to take their foot off the gas. I think Lee Radford will demand no less. We already know 2 of the players that they've signed for next year. So recruitment has started.
A good recruitment as well for Hull.
I wonder what that means for Matty Dawson-Jones, whether unfortunately he's going to be one of these players that play one game and get injured and dispense with
such his life.
I can't see him and Adam Swift competing for
he might be a backup though, might he?
Well, I think they've already got re-signed their other 2 wingers in Largo and Ferramo. So.
Fair enough.
But they're already recruiting, they're looking forward. I think you've got to do it off a platform of some degree of consistency. So I'm going to go Hull by 10.
I'm going to go Hull as well, for all the reasons stated above. But this could be anything. This could be 50-0 to Salford or 47-23 to Hull FC. As it is, I've gone for a narrow Hull victory. I'm sure there'll be a big crowd there on Friday night to watch this one. Hull by 4.
Every time I tip Salford to win, they get beat. So I'm certainly. I'm
Hello, Salford fans, man.
They lost to Hull KR. That's how bad Salford can be. Could Salford get dragged in at the bottom? Potentially. I think Hull will win. I think Hull will win quite convincingly, to be honest. I think Hull will win by 16. I think it'd be a comfortable night for the black and whites. There's something about Hull, I just think this might be their time. Having written them off at the start of the year, I think this might be their time. There's an attitude. And again, I question them getting hammered. When they get hammered too easily. But I think this is a team, you don't go to Warrington and win if you're not a team. And I think...
They're picking choosing the games out of the Hull.
They are, but I think this is one, I think they want to win this one, so they'll win.
Yeah.
Right, Wakefield against the Leeds Rhinos. This is a TV game on Friday night. Wakefield at home against the Legends Leeds.
Boy, oh boy. Wakefield, 3 unbeaten at the moment, is it? 3 or 4, is it? 3 or 4 unbeaten, is it? Leeds. Boy, oh boy. Come on, do I give him another chance? Do I give him another chance? Is there a bit of rejuvenation?
When you say Wakey 3 unbeaten, what, against Leeds? Or?
No, so far they're on the film.
No. They lost last week. They didn't lose a week before as well.
Yeah, they didn't win this week, but no.
Yeah.
No, yeah, but you don't count that.
They're not great.
You don't. Yeah,
It's like beating Leeds. You don't count that.
No, you don't count that.
Top
Do you?
goals. Goals in the Eredivisie you don't.
But Leeds. I'm not going against them. I'm not going against them. I don't think Wakefield hitting the right form. Bruffy's back here, but he was nowhere near fit. Fafita's not playing. It'll be a big loss. Leeds under Agar. I'm hoping the players will get a bit of response. Parcell, what he's been saying, we could get on the run. We're only 6 points away from the 5. So now, please, Leeds players, I'll just say to you, stop talking the talk, start walking the walk. I'm going.
The most significant factor might be the fact that Leeds have had a week off. I think that will have benefited them at this stage in the season. Obviously, they would rather have been in the Challenge Cup, but Wakefield to me seemed like a team whose injuries are just starting to catch up with them. There was nothing between these teams at Bellevue the last time they played. It was 2 points.
When Wakefield had half a team out.
Yeah, but Leeds actually played okay for part
Against
of that
half
game.
a Wakefield team. And they still lost.
Stop reminding us.
I'm going to go for Leeds, obviously, because I just think that week off will benefit them. No Parcell because he's banned, which puts the onus upon Dwyer.
Yeah, it's good for Parcell to come out in the paper and say,
Yeah.
I've been cracked, all my teammates are going to have to win this week.
Yeah, because I'm not playing for the next two
child on the
games.
shoulder.
I also think that the Watkins situation may start clearing a bit of the air.
Do you think? Or
yeah,
it
no,
could
I
go
think-
the other way, that, you know.
I'm not
that
sure.
could go the
I'm
other
not
way.
sure it will.
Will they take the captaincy off Callum now?
Gotta do.
Well, why have they already?
Gotta do.
Do it today.
Yeah.
I'm-
Sack him.
Yeah.
I know. I got sacked 3 times as Leeds captain.
So I'm narrowly going to go for Leeds, and the season revival starts after the London game.
Rich?
What score, Phil, did you say, sorry?
2.
Well, usually I'd say Leeds for reverse psychology, wouldn't I? But I've got to say Wakefield, and for many reasons. One, everyone's a bit concerned now. Wakefield lost the Saints in the Cup, right? Saints are really good. I've got to point this out again. Saints are the best team in the division at the moment. Yes, they lost to London again. No one knows why, apart from bad attitude, which is the obvious reason. What people are forgetting about Leeds is they're beaten London, right? They snuck past London
Yeah.
by 2 points.
Yeah.
Leeds are still crap.
Yeah.
People are forgetting this. So I'm saying all this now. Leeds are falling apart again. You know what's going to happen. I'm going to go Wakefield by 2 because we shouldn't be scared of playing Leeds because they ain't no good. And if they do go on and win, well, they go on and win. So be it. But Wakefield should win by 2.
Yeah, the big thing you've mentioned is obviously they've had the week off. That is the one big thing. And I think Wakey's... I think the cup draw, as bad as it was for Wakey, actually did him a favour because had they lost to Hull KR, for instance, that would probably been more damaging. Everyone expected them to lose. They lost. They've had injuries have caught up with them. They're struggling. But you know what? I think if you just said, who do you want to play next week, lads? They'd say, play Leeds. Because I think they know they can beat Leeds.
Yeah.
And I think they will beat Leeds. And I think they'll beat Leeds quite good. And I think, as Richard said, Leeds were lucky to beat London. You know, another 5 minutes they probably would have lost. All right, it's an 80-minute game. They won the game. Fair play. They ain't no good. They ain't no good. They're relying on bits of brilliance rather than a team performance. I think Wakefield will win by 14.
Boy, oh boy.
I do. And I won't be... Yeah, I know they're down on troops. I just think it's a game I think they'll win.
Is Danny Kerman going to play? Because I know he...
I don't know.
Well, he should be in the Wakefield Hall of Fame. I was having this discussion on Twitter with people on Saturday night.
He will
You
be.
can't have a Hall of Fame which is not... which doesn't have all the best players in, and then have somebody in and then say Danny Kerman shouldn't be in.
No, he'll be in. I
Just 'cause someone's
guarantee.
been at a club for 30 years don't mean they're
I
in the Hall of
guarantee.
Fame.
Exactly. Right, Warrington Catalans on Saturday. Legend.
Yeah, well, Catalans are just so frustrating, aren't they? And on the road again, and it's still a massive problem. Warrington, yeah, they held on against Catalans, didn't they? Warrington. Oh no, Catalans beat them by a point, didn't they? Warrington, yeah. But no, the Callums on the road, they've still got the massive problems from there, and at times it looks as though the players couldn't care less, if I'm honest with you, and that was certainly identified last week in the Cup, you know, with that performance against the Black and Whites. Warrington, they look to keep the pressure on St Helens, because obviously St Helens will win, they're down in London the day after. I'm going for an easy Warrington win here. I'm going Warrington to win by 24.
Again, I have no idea on the basis of the fact that I don't know which Catalan are going to turn up. That against Wakefield on the road at Magic Weekend, they look pretty solid. They found a way to win, and were absolutely horrible at Hull. As bad a performance as I've seen in many a long year, and I watched Leeds. Warrington still, yes, they've got flashes of absolute genius in their team, and when Blake Austin plays, he's almost unplayable. But there's something about Warrington still at the moment that there's a vulnerability somewhere in the team. I don't know whether Catalan are good enough this week to expose that. I just think they owe it to themselves to put in a performance. But I don't think they're going to be good enough to beat Warrington, so I'll go Warrington by 10.
Warrington, because they're better than Catalans. Catalans are inconsistent.
I think
Warrington by 8.
Yeah, was it after they got thumped Catalan last time by Salford? They actually came out the week after and won, didn't they? A big win. I'm with you though. Away from home, I think it'd be tough. I agree with what you said about Warrington. There is a vulnerability about them. I think that'll come out in the big games. Not this one. I think it's a game they'll win. I'll go Warrington by 8. Right, on to Sunday. Hull KR against Wigan. This is a big game at the bottom of the table, because if Hull KR can win, they go level with Wigan.
Yeah, and I think that'll be their motivation as well. They've sacked the coach as well, so the players have got what they wanted. So whoever takes it, obviously the James Webster one, I would imagine, for a week or so. And it can't be any longer, surely, after the job what he did previously, to be honest with you, from there. But Hull KR, they scored plenty of points. Wigan, have they got the points in them? I think this will be a high-scoring game. I do, just because Hull KR can't defend, but Hull KR like to score points. So, but Wigan, if they are going to be serious contenders for the 5, they want to go on the roll now, at least 3 or 4 on the bounce, and I think they'll do it. I don't think there'll be much in it though. I'm going to go Wigan by 6.
I think again the big factor is one team's had a week off, and I think that's massive at this mid-season point. Hull KR, that last 20 minutes against Warrington, I think will have taken a lot out of them physically and psychologically. I think we've all said it. It's a make or break game for Wigan. Their season is dependent on this game. Lose and you're in the relegation dogfight. Win, and the coach more than anybody needs to win if he's going to secure a position for next year. And you're back amongst the teams that think they've got a chance of finishing in the 5. So Wigan never get beaten by much. Hull KR have a propensity to let points in, so I'm going to go Wigan by 12.
Wigan and Hull KR have the 2nd worst and 3rd worst attacks in the division. Hull have the worst defence by 19 points compared to London Broncos. Hull KR, sorry. Hull FC's defence is crap as well. They've conceded the 3rd most points. Must be something in the water. Wigan will win. It'll be rubbish. It's not on the telly, so that's good. I won't bother listening to it on local radio either. Go do something else. Go watch a championship game. Or something in League One. Hull KR, no. I'm going for Wigan by 4.
Yeah, I think week off for Wigan, recharge the batteries. This is a game they've got to win. They will win. They weren't good enough to beat Warrington, but they were good enough to compete for an awful long time, and it took a bit of Blake Austin brilliance to beat them at the Magic. I think they'll win. I think they'll win reasonably comfortably. I think there'll be about 8 points in it. Wigan by 8. Right, last one then. Bottom of the table, London Broncos taking on St Helens on Sunday. Surely only one outcome. Legend.
Yeah, there is. Said they're just too good, aren't they? But London, they'll give it the best shot, but unfortunately, it's far too much quality. And but it won't be easy. They'll give an 80-minute performance. That's what Danny Ward wants from his players. The players always give him that, but you can only have a winner from there. I'm going to go St Helens. I'm going to go St Helens by 26.
It's down to Saints and their attitude. If they turn up and put in the professional performances that they have for all of this season, they will win. The only thing that would undo them, I think, would be taking London lightly, which they know would be a mistake, because London really tested them at Knowsley, well, at Knowsley Road, should have old iron, at the totally wicked stadium, which now makes a profit every year, which is well done to Adrian McManus. That is really important that he's turned that business around. I just can't see Saints slipping up at the moment. There's something methodical, mechanical and extremely entertaining about them. I think they'll just have too much on a very fast pitch for the Broncos, and I'll go Saints by 12.
Good chance for some squad rotation for Justin Holbrook, and the players who come in will want to impress, because there's obviously some big games coming up for Saints. You never know what's going to happen with injuries. But Saints, they are professionals, and they will win by 24.
Yeah, I think it'd be really high scoring. I could see it being something like 50 or 20. I think Saints will win by. I'm going 24 as well.
I think one game I would highlight that we're not predicting, but if you wanted to go and watch a match this weekend, Saturday afternoon in the Betfred Championship, York against Toulouse. If you like open, entertaining rugby, head for Goulden Crescent.
Very good. Right, thanks to Gary, thanks to Phil, thanks to the RSW, thanks to you for watching. Download the podcast along with the other 100,000 people. Thanks for all your messages. We appreciate each and every one of them. We will be back next week. We're not